live.
Yes, we are.
So
Let's get it. Let's get it. Hey.
All right. So before Chris comes in, how about we kind of welcome, let everybody come in, join our live video. Welcome you all.
Good evening. Hi. Wow, we got situated with the Zoom over here and so we can see your.
All right. So before Chris comes in,
hold
on 1 second. Sorry, guys. Kind of welcome, let everybody come in, join our live. There we go. Okay. Sorry. I think you guys heard that too, but we're still good. All right. Good. Welcome to the 3 Cigar podcast united together for the first time.
Yes.
So we have TLE, the Hot Ticket Podcast, the Sultans of Smoke. We're going to kind of go around the room and you guys can introduce. We have some random person I have never seen in my life before in the back of Danny's head, but it's okay. We're going to keep the show going. So how about the Hot Ticket Podcast? Corey, please introduce yourselves. Tell us a little bit about your podcast, and then we'll go from there.
So I will tell you this. Chris is not here today. With me, I have Corojo.
Yeah, that's me. Mm-hmm.
She's my girl. She'll be kicking it with me in this podcast. Chris is absent for the evening, so she's going to play co-host with me as we ramble on for the next hour and a half. I am Corey with the Hot Ticket, again with my co-host Corojo today, and we are a podcast that's been around for about 3 years, all things cigar related, and of course love every single one of you. You guys are some of my favorite people, some of my favorite podcasts. I cannot wait to have further discussions with you this evening.
I gotta be honest, man.
Do we call you Mrs. Corojo?
No.
What do we call you?
No, none of that. It's strictly cigar_Corojo. Find me on Instagram, instagram.com, instagram.com/cigar_Corojo.
Bro, you're lucky I'm married, man.
Drew's over there like, what the fuck is going on now? All right. So I'm so happy that you guys are here. Hot Ticket Podcast. Welcome. So Sultans, welcome you guys. Drew, why don't you introduce everybody and tell us a little bit about you guys?
I'm Drew.
You are Drew.
I am. Mo from Patina Cigars helped start the Sultans back in 2014. And then we got Mukau Rich. He's been with us for quite a while now. And Danny from Romacraft.
What up?
Sounds so exciting about that. You guys...
I'm a part-timer.
This is the thing though. Every time that I listen to a Sultans, this is exactly how it is. What up?
You know,
this is true.
And it's so true. And I really love the fact that all of us here have completely different personalities, obviously. Right. So it's really exciting. And this is just the beginning of an amazing episode. And I can't wait to get into topics and so forth. So why don't we talk about what everybody is smoking? Mo, why don't you tell us?
I am doing a patina Habano that I made a special for Casa de Monte Cristo in Chicago. So it's a tweaked blend of my regular Habano.
Very nice. Very nice. Cal, we see that you're not smoking, but what are you drinking tonight?
I'm rocking some Midwinter Night's Dram, almost to the bottom of a bottle, but I got more. So we're okay.
Are you gonna drink out of the bottle tonight or from the glass?
We'll see how it goes. I got both.
All right.
Depends.
You're ready.
It depends what Chris and Corey do. If they keep this up, that bottle's gonna be gone in 5 minutes.
I mean, Chris set the tone. Cigar_Corojo set the tone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Danny, what are you smoking?
You need to go check his DMs. I'm sure there's plenty of people sliding into his DM right now. I'm actually one of them. Hang on a second. No, I'm doing a little flexing. This is the Craft 2020 that just landed today and shipped today to all the stores. So this is like my first time smoking it, and like hot off the truck, like people like don't like to do, and it's smoking phenomenal.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
You just had to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, you should wait. Wait till this goes on. Don't worry.
I still believe that you are the biggest weasel of the industry.
Oh yes.
I think you are patient zero.
Well,
I feel like.
I mean, listen, I gotta. Never mind. I was about to say something, but I got a job with them, right? So it doesn't really get much bigger than that. So they pay me to be here.
True.
Right.
Actually, they pay me to sell cigars, but unfortunately, I'm just here.
That's awesome. Now, Drew, are you drinking anything tonight? Are you smoking, or what's?
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper. Is that your thing?
My man. Huh? Yeah.
My man.
Do you like see David over at Cigar Noise? He likes to pair his drinks with soda. Do you do the same thing?
It's always Dr. Pepper.
Always.
Dr. Pepper or coffee.
And that's it.
That's it.
That's the remarks of a serial killer right there.
See, here's the thing.
100%.
For our viewers watching right now, and we have quite a few people watching us right now. Drew, we always want to know more about Drew. So our mission tonight, I think we're going to bring a little bit more out of Drew than we've heard on the Sultans podcast. Now, Corey, you have to help me out with that. Cal, you have to help me out with that.
Amen.
Okay? You guys. All right.
Team up.
You got to team up. And I just also want to give a big shout out to our sponsors, specifically Room 101 Brands and Bovida. They've definitely supported us since day one. We're happy to, that they're a part of our show. And for more updates, definitely tune into our episode this Thursday.
Yes.
Corey, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I give a big shout out to our show sponsor, My Cigar Pack. I love Alex over there. He's a wonderful man. We have a new episode out that is actually aired 7:00 this morning, featuring our man Mo. In the recent week, we had Danny on. So two of the podcast beasts that are currently with us today both have shows on the Hot Ticket in the recent 2 weeks.
Awesome. Very nice.
I can't stop staring at Chris.
Focus.
Same here, man.
I can't.
Corojo, come here and give me some burgers.
Amy's like, I put all this work into my hair, and these guys are just staring at Chris.
It's like
I love it.
I can't even. I don't know where to begin. Like,
I wish I could see more of that tattoo, Chris, to be honest.
It's like you gotta, pull it down a little bit.
There you go.
Bang. Bang, bang.
Sorry, I'm a Red Bull guy.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome, man. So everybody's been all right. How's everybody's weekend?
Great. Corona disappeared.
Right.
You don't have that to worry about anymore, which is great.
Yeah, it did. But I'm so happy that even though everything is happening in the world, and we're not going to get into that, but the fact that we're all here together and we can take our minds off of all that bullshit. It's unfortunate that everything is happening all around us and we're all feeling different emotions. But here and
You were saying?
Thank you for being here. All right.
Oh my God.
So let's. Damn it.
That goes the structure.
There you go. It's done. So how about we go straight into our first topic? Lots of BS happening in the cigar industry. Tons. All the time for many, many years, right? When it comes to cigars, When you hear a rep or a manufacturer speak, how do you know they're authentic or just feeding you bullshit? Drew, how about you start?
Nice.
Oh yeah, you know.
Well, if I'm talking to Danny, it's always bullshit.
100%.
Got him.
I don't talk to any reps.
Because you live in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You over how many years have you been smoking cigars?
Since about 2001.
But you
20
haven't
years?
talked to any reps that many years?
No, I mean,
Or manufacturers at that?
Or watched
manufacturers
interviews.
I have, yeah. But
Yeah. So how do you know that they're not feeding you bullshit?
so manufacturers versus reps. I think a lot of reps are probably feeding you bullshit because they want you to buy their stuff. Factories is kind of like a different scale because they want to be legit with their stuff. They want to they want to put out a quality product, and they don't want to be known for I don't want to say lying, but deceiving you. So
Lying? You mean lying? Yeah.
Name names. Name names.
No names.
No, we don't
No
do
names.
that.
No names. You know how we do. No names. If there is a name slipped in this live, it is not us. Corey.
What?
I'm talking to you specifically, man.
What do you mean?
Oh, I know what you do.
Yeah. Bad habit. Like chewing tobacco.
Oh man. So Cow, how about you?
It's kind of tough, right? Because if they seem like they don't know a whole heck of a lot, that can be one red flag. But if they seem like they know a ton, they probably know so much more than you do that they can say kind of whatever, right? And they'll sneak it under the radar. I've known people for sure that have tried to do that. So I don't know that there's like a one winning strategy. Some of it is if they have just too good an answer for everything, it feels like that's kind of a BS thing. I expect some kind of hesitation, some thought, some conversation instead of just like a sales pitch about every question you ask. It's, I got an answer for that. I got an answer. Maybe you don't. So
Right.
I don't know if that helps.
It does. How about you, Mo? I know it's a little bit different for you, especially you being on the manufacturer side and before having your cigar, having your cigar brand.
I don't really think it's changed much, to be honest with you. I think any product that is, listen, man, someone's always trying to sell you on something, right? You're always being sold. Some guys just have to go out of themselves to do it, and other people could just do it being themselves. And so what that means to different people is different, right? So I feel like, I don't want to speak for other people, but the guys in the industry know who's full of shit and who isn't. And so, but that's not my place to call people out or say anything. I just do what I do. And I think Danny would agree with that in the sense of just keep your head down and worry about yourself. So people should be able to pick up on things. That's kind of how I look at it eventually.
All right, Miss
And Mo, just building on that a little bit, a lot of those people talk, don't they? So like those rumors spread fast.
Yeah, it depends, man. Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yeah, they can. Yeah, it's tough to be phony. And it's you'll get called out pretty quickly.
Sure.
So
by a lot or by just a few? You will. It is.
Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Listen, like I always tell people, for the first 4.5 years out of school, I investigated corporate fraud. Okay, I was what they call a forensic accountant. The biggest lesson I took away from that: the more stuff you bullshit people with, the more you got to cover up. The more you got to cover up, the more likely you are to slip up. Right? And that's how people get caught. That and greed, right? So what's the point in lying about stuff to begin with? Because some point chicken's gonna come home to roost. So, right?
That is deep thoughts.
So
Brought to you by Mo.
professional.
Cock-a-doodle
Huh?
too.
So professional.
Hey,
What about
hey,
you,
listen.
Danny?
Mr. Whistle.
Mr. Weasel.
Weasel.
Whistle.
Talk to me.
Whistle.
Weasel.
Criminal. It's funny, man, because I don't run into a lot of reps that I feel are full of shit. I have met, of course. What's funnier is the guys that don't have like a lot of experience are from those kind of smaller markets, right? So like Oklahoma, Ohio, Wisconsin. Like you guys aren't going to get a lot of reps, probably more brokers than anything, right? I think there's a huge difference between a broker BSing you and a rep, like an in-house rep, right? So a broker, and God bless them, for the most part they try. But the issue is like if they don't sell, they don't pay their bills, right? They don't eat. So that's why brokers have a hard time sometimes, because if the broker comes in with cigar A, and you as the shop owner say no, well, here's B. This is like the best. This is a really great cigar. And then like C, this is a really great cigar. This like, dude, like there's bullshitting, but then there's also like you're just really, really trying hard to make a sale. And a lot of times, I mean, especially in this industry where it's very relationship based, very handshake based. These guys see through that shit all the time. I mean, they got guys coming in there to try to sell them something all the time. So that's the tough part when it's BS, especially from a broker. Now, from a rep side, you got to be very careful. And this is something that I'm super, super careful with all the time. Is if I have bad news that I have to tell someone, I want to do it first before that person finds out the bad news, because then it's worse, right? So like I would rather have that conversation with you and bring it up like, hey, I'm just gonna man up to you. I always take the blame. It's like it's whatever, right? So like I fucked up here, I messed this up or whatever. I'm gonna try to fix it, but I say this all the time, and you can ask any of my stories, right? It's like my bad. I can't promise you that I can fix it. I can't promise you that I can make it right. But I'll get better at it, whatever, that may be. And with that builds the relationship, because if I can talk to you when shit's going wrong, then you're going to have more trust in me when shit's going right. So a lot of times, there's accounts that, and I've talked about this before, we'll just see a sales order come in and they hadn't contacted me, but they'll see what's on it and they'll send me a text or call me like, hey, was this you? I'm like, yeah, because it's coming. I know you do good and I don't have a lot of it. But I'd rather get you in line. If you don't want it, I can take you off. And they're like, no, I just wanted to make sure. And once or twice of that, and then that's gone, right? So where these guys, they don't want to have that hard conversation at first, kind of like what Mo was saying. Later on, you're going to have that hard conversation, right? Like for us, if I can't get you Black Irish or I can't get you Cro-Magnon or any of the crazy shit, Craft 2020, I'm going to tell you now. Because if I keep saying, oh, I'll see what I can do, I'm giving you some type of hope, even though I know that the answer is no, right? And I think, a lot of people are very afraid to say they don't know something, right? Like, hey, what kind of fucking binders on? Like, dude, if you don't know, say you don't know, because when you say, hey, it's this, and 2 minutes later, so if you find out it's this, your whole credibility is gone. And this dude doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. So I think part of it's that a lot of people don't, when you come in as the rep, you're looked at as a cigar expert, right? Compared to other people. Well, they're at least expecting you to be as good as them, sure, and or better. So if you lose that little credibility because you were just bullshitting, instead of saying, you know what, man, I kind of forgot. Now, if you're a rep and you forget your blends, that's something you should probably work on. But either way, if you don't know the process for your factory, if you don't know what makes your cigar bands or cigar boxes, or any of these weird questions that always come up, just say, dude, I honestly don't know. I'm gonna find out. I don't know, something, right? So I think that's part of it. Just people, they don't want to look stupid, but then ultimately will look stupid.
But you got to understand too, there's a lot of people out there that just want to make us try to trip us up too, and prove how much they know, right? And like, dude, I don't know about every single thing in the cigar industry. I know the stuff that goes into my cigar, how we get it, what we do. That's what I know about. You know, what other people do, A, doesn't concern me, and B, it's none of my business. So I don't know. Like, I don't know what else to say about it. I know my process, right? And Danny knows his process, and it's just how it goes.
As a young, attractive woman,
Right.
one of the frustrations that I have sometimes, not always, but sometimes with reps is hitting on me as one.
Why do they hit on you though? Like, is it just the way that you dress? I mean, I see that you show off a little much on social media. I mean,
think it's
the followers are growing, man.
I think it's the butch voice. To be
Is it
frank.
the butch voice? I mean,
Yeah.
you could have fooled me. I mean, I look at your photos and they're so wonderful and just so, you're showing off like your body.
You're
and it's
so
Kyle's going at it.
You're so
right off the bottle.
Here's the thing. But on a real note, though, the one thing that I'm always discouraged by is the superficial interactions with reps. That'll be like, hey, buy 5 or 6 of our cigars and you enter a raffle, and then you might win like some swag at the end of it. And a lot of the times it's a circumstance where it's a brand I'm very almost always know about, but maybe don't have necessarily an affinity towards them. But I'm always willing to like kind of build a relationship with the brand again, maybe explore maybe a new blend that they've come out with. But it always boils down to these like buy 5, buy 6, and enter a raffle. And I'm just like, honestly, I'd rather just know more about the cigars and why I should like try them from a quality and flavor perspective. It's rarely a question of, well, what do you like, ma'am? It's rarely that. It's just like buy 6. I'm like, no. It's very weird. Yeah, you feel me?
Yeah, and that's an example of someone just trying to get that sale,
right?
As opposed to build the relationship between you and that brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm approachable.
Well, your looks are intimidating, 100%. So maybe they're just at a loss for words.
Maybe.
Or they're throwing up in their mouth. It's I don't know, but if they, yeah, exactly. It's it's hit or miss, depending on the guy. But that's a good example. That could be a broker.
That's
or
true.
That could be, they're not going to tell you that. Now, if they've got multiple brands that they're trying to push at this event, it's, which I've seen that, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know, it's true. What about you, Corey?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've been in the fertilization and manure business for a long time, and I can smell bullshit. So I would definitely say from a consumer perspective, I've had interactions, obviously, with both reps from manufacturers and brokers. It's not a business model that I'm not accustomed to in the world that I work in. And I agree with Chris. Those superficial conversations lead me to believe that you simply just don't know enough about the product to represent. So your strategy and your tactic is a gimmick to try to get people to purchase your cigars. Where I think a lot of consumers are very educated now. Obviously, the world of the internet has brought a lot of information to our fingertips. So you can't take for granted that there are folks out there in the cigar world that even just researching know what goes into cigar making process, the blends themselves. I've had some interactions with brokers where I think it's a struggle sometimes, because if you think about a broker, and I think Danny just mentioned it, they'll be representing multiple brands at one time because they have a portfolio of which they're responsible for selling. So if you think about it, you have 10 brands. Let's say it's for Mo, or if it's for Danny and Romacraft, you're only getting 10% of their time. So you have to understand like how much is going into that selling process, understanding the product and so on. And I'm sure there's some that are better than others. But I do agree with Cigar Corojo in the fact that the superficial conversations tend to lead me to believe that I can't have a further educated conversation with you. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to pick up the cigar, but certainly this is your opportunity as a brand representative or manufacturer to convince me to try your stuff. If the conversation is not one of which you can impart knowledge and information, I'm likely to kind of move in another direction. There's no sticking point for me necessarily as the consumer.
Yeah.
Now, let me jump in on the defending of the rep and or, since I kind of bashed a little, I'll even come in and defend. And it doesn't make it right, but I've caught myself doing it, and you just, you have to get yourself out of that mindset. But if I'm doing a big event, right, 100, 150 people there, I may have talked about that cigar 75 times. So unfortunately, a little bit of me is like, dude, just fucking, So now that said, I get myself out. I'm like, this is the first time this guy's has heard it. And he might be thinking this is the first time anyone has asked that question, right? So I can see getting into that mentality that, man, I've been doing events all weekend, and here's, guy number 75 coming up to me, asking me about the blend, when a lot of times the person I'm talking to has no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. But that doesn't matter, right? Like, I still need to give the professional answer. So, on that end, I get why some of these guys get in it, especially if they've been doing it for 15, 20 years. They're tired. Unfortunately, that's just the thing. On the flip side, though, is like, shit, I lost my point. But no, so these guys, they do it all day. So with me, I try to say, hey, really get the interaction. Like, hey, what's your, always ask the name. Oh, cool. You're a regular here, or you just here for the event? What do you normally, you like that? That just has to be part of your spiel. But really, what comes down in how I know I handle it, I've seen Mo at events and the way he does it, is we genuinely care about that interaction. And that's the biggest thing that you can tell someone's BSing or not. So I genuinely care what your name is. Will I remember it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But at that moment, I care. I care what you smoke. I care what you're there for. Because I don't know if you're there to buy one stick or you're there to buy 10 boxes, right? So everyone has that potential. I don't care what color you are, how ugly you are, how is, right? So it's like every interaction needs to be that quality. And I get that sometimes it's like, again, like, I'm tired, or this is my third event this week. And so every once in a while, that may happen. The goal should be never happen. But that's just a little insight on that side of the table, right?
Sure.
But again, we're supposed to be professionals.
Danny, if you take me to your hotel room, you will never forget my name.
I don't know, forget your phrase after this.
I won't either.
So I'm really interested in Amy and Erica's take on this, for sure.
Literally just about to say something too. Going off of these brokers that have, let's start off there, since we were talking about that have multiple brands. The one thing that kind of throws me off is a multi-vendor event, right? Like, it's a little weird to me. And I go in and you're basically, it's just like, okay, you're just trying to sell me something. Like, even if I ask about, and this is just for, my opinion, but it's, I asked about a cigar and you probably are just going to try to sell it to me instead. I mean, I've had conversations with multiple reps and brokers like, hey, but tell me about what is this flavor profile? And they try to steer me another way and just turns me off. I can sense BS from a mile away. Like, I'm quiet and I'll just watch. Especially being on a lot of these Zooms, you can kind of tell like who has like tried to manipulate the industry and what they're doing and just trying to sell cigars. It's this whole story. I don't want to hear about a legacy anymore. I just want to connect with me. Ask me how I'm doing. It's like that. Like if you go out and about and just like, hey, how are you doing? You know, get to know me, like have a conversation. And then we could talk about the cigars. That's what cigars are all about, right? We're sitting here, if we were in a lounge, we'd just be talking about anything and everything. And then cigars, maybe 10 to 15% of the time, if that. But that's kind of like the vibe that I like. You know, there have been brands that I haven't smoked in years for, you know, whatever reasons. But there is one particular rep that changed the whole vibe on how I look at the company. And I look at him specifically, all he said, you know, I said, I don't like your cigars. And he's like, well, why? Like, and he just not taking it offensive. He's just trying to understand me and why. And he changed my whole perspective on it. And he actually set the tone for a lot of reps, just, you know, throughout the country for me. Because, you know, we come across them at the trade shows all the time and so forth. But it's just, and then you have some of them that are a little bit higher ranking in the company, and it's just more forceful. It's like, oh, this is the, let me tell you about the fields and this and that, blah, 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 blah. And you lost me. Like, did you even ask me if I wanted to hear about that? Like, did I ask you that? Like, figure out what I want to know. And that's kind of like where, you know, you're in it for such a long time. And I think all of us here have been in it for many, many years. And it comes to a point, it's just like, we know when somebody is genuine and when somebody's not.
I totally agree. And from my point of view, where I feel that it's more of I sense the bullshit a lot easier, because it's like, when I ask you a question about something, it doesn't matter if it's the brand itself, if it's about you, if it's about anything. And then you start digging into the family legacy and how you became, you know, this person because this person, bro, I don't want to fucking hear this shit.
Here we go.
You tell, like, I asked you one question. Don't fucking tell me a whole 30 minutes about, and then you start crying because you're dead and your grandfather wearing the, you know, for 125 years. Bro, I didn't ask you about that. Okay. So
The romanticizing, yeah.
That is just how I feel.
Romanticizing of the cigar industry.
Well, there's a point there, and I think part of the point, and Erica, you were making it very well in the sense that it's almost and it's really a sales 101 strategy, right? Ask a question, shut up, and listen.
Listen, yes.
And I think that's in a lot of industries, but it certainly exists within the cigar industry. You go to events and you're curious about something, but no one's taking the time and the effort to understand your perspective, what your thoughts and feelings are about certain things, and really kind of diving into, okay, what does this person really enjoy? And there may be something within their brand, their lineup that suits you perfectly, but how are you supposed to know that if you're not asking the question, shutting up and listening? So I do agree with you from that perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So it's just, it's like San said, and on our there's a lot of comments coming in, like, but it's kind of like a blessing and a curse, you know, to know it. It's like, you know, sometimes I kind of wish that I didn't know anything. I just was able to smoke the cigars for what they are.
Amen.
And I'm sure where we all probably have a lot of friends, and we look at them, we're like, damn, they're really enjoying that cigar. Like they don't even care about any, you know, rumors or stories or experiences that they've had with the company. They're really enjoying. Damn, I want to be there. I get a little jealous.
I gotta throw in too. Oh, go ahead, man.
No, absolutely, Kyle. Go ahead, buddy.
I was just saying that I feel like we've been talking about brokers and reps a lot, but we've kind of let brand owners off the hook a little bit. I feel like
motherfucker.
I feel like
Here we go.
So just to make this more fun, right? Some of the most BS crap and lies to my face have come from brand owners, not reps. And I feel like I'm not going there. It would be revealing to those people, which is apparently forbidden. But slide into the DMs. We'll talk about it. But I feel like those interactions are much more damaging. Like if a rep says something, I'll be like, all right, that rep might suck. If a brand owner says something that's a little off or a lie or misleading on purpose, then that brand can get written off. I don't need to smoke their stuff because I don't believe you anymore. You've lost all your credibility. There's dozens of cigar brands that I'm happy to smoke. I don't need yours. So let's be real about it.
Can you give us an example of some sort of lie or somebody? Please. Come on.
There's so
No,
many.
again,
Answer. Go ahead.
no names here. We're not bashing anybody. Like,
There's plenty, but so one that lost credibility in my eyes that I haven't bought another of their cigars since. We asked directly to their face, when is this next cigar coming out? This particular limited edition cigar. When am I going to see it again? And their answer was that it would take at least a year's worth of time to age it properly and all this stuff. And it was not in consideration right now. Guess what came out a few months later? Do I believe anything that person tells me anymore? Not really.
What do you think the worst? I mean, what's really the worst thing that could happen if you just tell somebody as a manufacturer? It's like, yeah, I'm working on it right now. What's the worst? You're working on it already. The cigar is going to come out.
Or deflect, right? Like, I can't answer that question. It's going to be a mystery if it ever comes back. Okay, like, cool.
And then it's like, what is it a secret? Like, you're not telling us the blend. Even if you lie to us about the blend, we probably may not even know, because half the manufacturers don't even tell us exactly what they're putting in the cigars.
Or if it's the same limited edition cigar that they sold as perhaps a regular production cigar.
Hey, yeah.
Very true.
But but it's that too. It's like, you think that somebody's going to take your secrets and use it against you just by saying, hey, yeah, this cigar is coming out in a couple of months. You should look for it.
No, I think what these people do is that they want to make themselves feel a little bit more special and more exclusive, and that's why they say those type of things. Oh no, I put so much time into it. I'm gonna, it takes a lot. It's a lot of effort and time, and then you're sitting on the shit. You're about to release it.
They're boxed.
Hey, I just got a message from Skip. He says if Amy doesn't get lit and start going crazy, he's gonna jump in here. So he's really just watching.
Don't get lit then.
Yeah, let's see if it happens. Come on, Skip.
Is he right next to you? Still his ass to get on here.
Of course he is. He's like he's number one creeper.
Yes.
He's creeper.
I'm not number one, but
you're number one weasel.
Oh, there you go.
You guys make a great team, man.
Cal, you actually make a good point though. It's almost like what's the purpose of the deceit? I guess I don't understand the long-term gain in that approach. It's confusing to me. I personally, I don't know. I don't represent a brand. I don't own a brand, but I would be excited if I knew something was going to be released. I'd be excited to tell the world, especially in a sense. I'm not saying that you're posting out a press release or through the media, but if someone one-to-one is asking about something, I'd be excited to talk about it. I would be excited to represent that to a person who's genuinely interested in it. So I don't know, that strategy is a little confusing to me, but I'm not saying it obviously doesn't happen, because it's happened to me before. And
the only thing I can think of is, and I'm not saying this situation, but if it's a limited cigar that brand owner or rep knows that shop is not going to get because of volume, or it's only going to certain stores, or they know that account is not going to get that limited. I can see why saying, hey, I really don't know. No, well, I can see why they wouldn't want to give that info.
Okay.
You're just one-on-one with Cal, then, the idea is, well, if you don't want to say, you could say, soon or sometime this year, or even say, honestly, I can't talk about it, but stay tuned. Something. Right. Because, I work for a company that we go after the customer on social media first. So we tell everybody when stuff's coming, right? And hey, this stuff's coming soon, so that the customer annoys the shit out of the shop, so that then they, so you know, and I'm not trying to. I'm just saying, you know, what's the other side of that coin?
It could be less about the sale and more about the personality of that person. Like, I don't want to like deal with the awkwardness of explaining to someone that this is going to be longer and they're going to be upset with me for not having the cigar out sooner than what they want.
Potentially.
You know?
Yeah, it's true. It's
Yeah.
Some people are like yes men or women, you know? But some people just like telling people yes because it makes them feel good. So it's like, are you gonna have this cigar out soon? Yeah, but it's a complete fucking lie, you know?
Or in Cal's case, like the complete adverse of that. So that's a very, you know, that one I'm like thinking in my head, I'm going, shit, that's just a lie. That's just lying. That's not even like deflecting. That's just like, didn't happen. Process takes too long. And you go, well, what the hell? How is this thing out here?
Right.
Yeah, and it goes back to what Cal was saying about, okay, so you have these cigars. We've all smoked many cigars over the years. And when one cigar that we smoked 3 years ago comes back out, tastes completely different, not because of the aging. We know it is different. It is not the same cigar for sure. It's a completely different profile. We ask you, and you say, no, it's not. It's the same cigar. What do you mean? But clearly, it's not. Like it's, you know, this has been a conversation with a couple of manufacturers that I've had in the past couple of years, and I'm like, dude, that's not the same cigar. No way, no way. Like I will give you, like I will age this cigar just as long as you smoke this cigar now. I'll age this cigar for the next year, and I'll give it to you, and you tell me if it tastes the same fucking way. No way. Mm-mm. And it's a lie, and we know it's a lie. But things are changing, right, guys? Like for the past, you know, let's say 4 years. We take the last 4 years, especially social media in our industry. It's changed so much, whereas you actually have to show some sort of vulnerability for us to connect. Like it's okay to make a mistake if you acknowledge it. Sometimes, I know you guys are thinking about one particular person right now, but sometimes.
Not yet. Just kidding.
I was on mute. Damn it.
It's sometimes.
Is it a mistake if you say it for a year straight?
But there are, you know, manufacturers that think that keeping secrets is the way to go. Like you show us your factory, show your cigars being made, show us the process. You know, okay, you don't want to tell us the true blend. Okay, that's fine, but just show us. Let us be a part of your world because that's what our industry is all about. And us being cigar smokers and really smoking cigars like almost pretty much every day. Just be real, dude. Like we'll respect you 1,000% more than it is anything.
I think part of that too is like not taking the consumer for granted. And I mentioned that a little bit in terms of like just the knowledge, right? The accessibility to information. I think about just instances I had, you know, if I go around looking like this and I look like this I'm thinking of a particular person that I feel like I look like when I'm oh, gross. A particular person I look like in the industry, but when I think about that, just if I walk into a shop, obviously not everyone's going to know who I am. So right, with the lack of understanding of information, background knowledge, and so on, some of that deflection, some of that deceit, you may not know who you're talking to. So why not err on the side of truth? Danny mentioned makes a good point in terms of having an authentic conversation, even if it's communicating bad news. You're going to get a lot further with someone in terms of respect and trust in your brand than you will with lies and deceit, especially depending on who you're talking to. Someone who's uneducated in the cigar world, you may slip one by them. But if it's any one of us who are walking into a lounge for an event and you pull some BS-ery like that, it's sniffed out almost immediately, and certainly not going to help the name of that brand.
Sure, it's true. I want to switch it over to Drew, because Drew, you're not off the hook, man. You over there with your Arnold shirt
I know. I saw that he lowered his camera so we could see it. I love
He's got
it.
matching guns too. He's got matching guns. Yeah.
Come on, where are your guns at, man?
Yeah, let's flex those arms a little bit.
Ooh, show me.
Oh, the microphone.
Oh.
The other arm, you retard.
Yeah, the other arm's not as big.
I'm right-handed. Leave me alone.
Good side. That's his good side, man. No, Drew, tell us something, because you're over there
Judge
just.
Drew, what? Give us your thoughts.
What are your thoughts right now?
They're few and far between.
Can we call Drew Judge Drew? Because I feel like that's what he's.
We call him.
Oh, really? Shit.
Do you listen to our podcast, bro?
I mean, I've listened to it a few times.
As much as I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All Drew knows now is he does not want to get in the cigar industry. 100%.
You don't?
No, not any more than I am.
Why?
It's a difficult industry. It's look, to all the people like Mo and even Danny, Skip, whatever, but you gotta bust your ass day in and day out and sell yourself on social media now and in shops, and it's a lot of freaking work. And I don't think a lot of people realize how much work it really is. And then just the behind the scenes stuff too, of being at the factory and releasing new stuff because everybody wants new stuff. And man, people are brutal. Drew, I'm going to be real with you right now. You put one of your cigars in my hands, you will sell so fucking well.
True. I can
Don't you worry about how your cigar sales are going to do. You give me one of your sticks, I put it in my mouth, show the label.
Sold out. Sold out.
Sold out.
Ooh.
Drew,
Don't
I mean,
I
how
get
can you
10%
say
of
no
the
to
cut.
that?
We'll chat later.
Keep up with them, Drew.
Oh, that's awesome. So Drew, so our viewers who haven't listened to the Sultans, you should go listen to them now. Again, we talked a little bit about it in the beginning of this live, that we really want to get more out of Drew. Drew I feel like Drew has so much more information that he gives. I don't know, Mo, Danny, Cal, you could probably tell and, tell us. There's more from Drew that I don't know. I want to know more. Like,
Tell us.
I know you're heavy into, Cubans and let's call it New World. Now, I hear this word being thrown around a lot.
That's a European concept.
Yeah. So are you still big into the Cuban cigars? Like, where are you at in your smoking game?
I still smoke quite a bit of everything. I do smoke a lot of Cubans. I enjoy them. I do find too, I can smoke them early in the morning and change to something else in the evening. I had Opus last night. I don't know if I posted it or not, but Opus last night, that's still one of my favorites.
If you didn't post it, you didn't smoke it. Sorry.
That's true. So I hope I posted it.
I smoked it for you. It's okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then look at this.
That's
There
what I
you go,
thought.
honey.
That's
There
what I thought you had.
honey.
Yeah.
Amy just try to block the light from the back of the cigar.
There's a lot of light. How about you tell everybody what you're smoking?
I am smoking the Sultans to Smoke Legacy.
Ooh.
You can't see it because this light is too much, but yes, it's banging, guys.
Hot damn, girl.
It's good.
It's fucking good.
Smoking well after all that rest it had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the cello is brown.
Yeah, those
Really?
were rolled 2015.
When are these?
Those were rolled in 2015.
2015, and they've just been sitting?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind Drew.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what?
It's pretty literally true.
Yes, it is.
No, it's legit.
I know bullshit when I hear it.
That ain't bullshit.
Yeah.
You can't see it.
Deep thoughts with Drew.
Oh yeah.
Now,
I
Drew,
feel like
I'll break
there's
it.
a wealth of knowledge seeping from Drew's muscles.
I'll break
Yeah.
It's our job to expose it and wipe it clean of your tasty skin.
seriously, maybe
One night-
Corojo can help you out with that.
Yeah, one night, Drew, I'll break you.
It's all for show. It's not functional.
We will
Now,
have a
Drew-
deep thoughts with Drew at the end of this, so everybody.
Yeah, we have to. But Drew, what's up with this Drew with the sign? What? Okay, so tell us a little bit about. So those of you don't know, who don't know, Drew has this other Instagram page. It's Drew with a sign?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so what made you think of this? Like, tell us a little bit of backstory with this. I know you were a little mad that everybody was doing live videos at one point.
No, it kind of started as like a really just to be stupid with all the things that are people doing. Some of it's legit. People are doing a lot of stupid things, and we don't want to see you post your workout every day. Some of it's just for the fun of it, just silly fun to piss people off. Yeah, Danny, stir the pot.
Hell yeah.
Stir the pot. I hate the challenges.
Oh, those
Yes.
fucking challenges.
Like, don't make me feel bad for not being able to do 50 push-ups. Okay? Like, I know you're trying to motivate everybody, but damn it. Like, don't make me feel shittier than shit right now during this.
Erica, I will tell you this. I did the push-up challenge, and I immediately regretted it. I fancy myself a small but mighty man, and I think I popped a hernia at about 34. So I'll tell you this right now. Don't accept the challenge.
I haven't.
I'm actually going to issue a challenge to everybody right now. We're going to call it the no challenge challenge.
Okay.
If you can do no challenges, you win.
I bet we all win.
My Instagram immediately filters out any workout challenge. So
That's nice.
that's a feature.
That's nice. That's fun.
They know me.
So how's everybody's smoke going? You guys doing all right with your cigars? Did anybody switch over to something else?
I'm about empty.
What's your next cigar?
Smoking the Intemperance because that's my name.
And the sales have plummeted.
Ew.
Oh yes.
And you're gonna do a bunch of turns.
Mm-hmm. What are you guys gonna smoke next?
Ooh, I'm gonna smoke the
Give me something.
the Cro-Magnon Mode 5.
Oh.
Very
My-
nice.
Give me something good.
What about you, Mo? Are you gonna do anything else after that?
Yeah, I will. Patina Maduro.
Oh,
Yeah.
everybody's searching for those.
Yeah.
Didn't that
So-
get a rating that was off the charts, Mo?
Oh,
Yo, Kyle is the
It's-
hype man.
It's been well received. Yeah. It's been good, man.
you're
This
so
is why I
filthy.
love this man. This is why I love this man. Look what he gave me.
Woo!
Ooh.
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers.
Flowers. Flowers for a nice young lady. Wait, Drew, what are you smoking? Wait, I don't think you were smoking at the beginning of the episode.
He was.
Yeah, Patina Habana.
It's a patina kind of night,
It's a good one.
an aroma kind of night.
I have this too here.
Paying the bills.
You gotta.
Can you guys see that?
But in all fairness, I do smoke a lot of other stuff too, not
Those
just.
some Churchills. Look at you.
Churches. I
You're
don't
just
even,
you're a girl. What do you know about that? Just kidding.
Ah,
I know nothing. Okay. Me know
Why
nothing.
don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Tell me about it.
Tell
I
us
know
a little-
I know that Aquitaine Churchill is a lot for me. That's all.
I know.
That's all.
that's the one Roma cigar that knocks me out.
Dude, me too.
7 inches, 8 inches, 60 ring gauge plus. I don't care.
I've seen it.
Chris, you just look like the guy from Silence of the Lambs, man.
Oh my
Dude, I thought about it.
Jodie
like,
Foster?
Would you fuck, would you fuck me? Buffalo Bill.
Buffalo Bill. When he was talking to himself,
Yeah.
like,
And he tucks it back. I can tuck it back. If you guys want to see that, I'll tuck it back.
Do it.
No.
another shot. Like, not here.
With any one of your brands in my hand, tucking it back, it's all out.
Mm. Man, those big followers. Those big followers. All right. So let's switch it up to the next topic regarding etiquette.
Etiquette.
Ooh.
I love talking about this shit.
And this is where Amy goes crazy, and I love it.
Cheers, guys.
I think she's gonna go crazy on this
Etiquette.
one.
All right,
I think she will.
Who's with me? Who's drinking out of the bottle with
Are
me?
you guys drinking out of the
Let's
bottle?
go. Cheers.
Cowards.
This one,
Vamos. Oh, come on, Danny.
Danny.
drink out the bottle, Danny. There you go.
I'll go get a bottle of something.
Woo.
Oh, I have to drink out the bottle too.
Go ahead.
All right. Oh.
Girl, I don't want to take you to the bathroom. Don't do it. You're crazy.
Everybody watching this, take a drink out of your bottle too. You're gonna
You
need
guys
this
too.
one.
Watching. Yes.
Yes, to all that's watching. Yes, please. All right. So, etiquette. When someone offers you to buy you a meal at a restaurant, right? Typically, you don't order the most expensive. You go off of basically whoever's buying you the meal. Now, if somebody offers you a cigar out of their humidor, does the same etiquette apply?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Good.
I'm gonna go all
Think about
out,
that.
bro.
Who starts first?
Wait, Drew. Wait. Hold on, because Drew was about to say something.
Wait, Drew, what were
go
you
for
gonna
it.
say?
Drew, what would you get me?
I just always bring my own cigars, and then I don't have to worry about that.
Amen, Drew. Not a man of many words, but goddamn, he's wise.
See,
Yeah.
some of these brand owners need to learn about deflection from Drew. I'm not answering that question. Take a master class in that every week.
Nice, Danny.
Wait
Nice.
a minute.
Danny.
Let's pause for a minute.
Danny, I can't even
Danny.
deal with you right now, bro.
Why?
Really? You gotta do me like
Yeah.
this? Fine,
You
go
gonna
ahead.
you gonna drink
Cheers,
out the
bro.
bottle?
I will say this is a shared office, so I'm not going to drink off the bottle. I feel bad for it.
Yeah, no. That's
Fine.
That's
But
understandable.
cheers.
Salud.
Salute.
Fuck that snarl.
Al, what do you think?
Sorry, I was too busy drinking. I didn't expect to get called on first.
Oh, you don't know. I'm just gonna.
That's okay. That's okay. So it depends on how well I know the person and how much I think they actually mean take whatever you want out of the humidor, right? Because if somebody comes to my house and they want to smoke, I'll actually mean take whatever you want out of the humidor. There might be like 1 or 2 cigars where I'm like, no, don't do that because that was a gift and I want to smoke it from that person. Everything else, fair game. I don't care what you want. Come get it. So if you know that's the case, take whatever you want. It doesn't matter. But let's say somebody comes like to hang out and they bring some cigars with them and they say, hey man, pick one of these cigars and smoke it next. I think you might like all these. Take one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking their most expensive cigar. I'm just not doing it, right? Because that seems kind of messed up. I'm probably taking something I haven't had or something that there might be like a personal connection with somehow where I'm like, I'll remember this person because of this cigar. That matters to me. Like you don't go to a restaurant for the most expensive meal most of the time. I think that's the same thing with cigars. I don't smoke the most expensive cigar every time. And I'm sure as fuck not taking somebody's like really bomb ass cigar and then they don't get to smoke it. That just strikes me as kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Unless you're at Drew's house, then fuck that. So I'm going to sort by price.
He won't even offer though.
That's not.
You better
That's
bring
not
your own
true.
cigars.
Always
Drew is the most generous cigar guy ever.
Oh.
Before I moved from Tulsa, he loaded me up with a bunch of aged Opus X and Cubans and stuff like that as a going away gift.
Jesus.
Drew, and actually Cow's generosity is legendary as well. I mean, both of these guys out of this world in terms of generosity. You know, some people constantly seek free stuff. Other people, you know, are very generous.
But what would you do? Mo?
I'm a fun guy.
You guys didn't catch that.
No.
I'm a fun guy.
What would I do? I think, look, if I'm going to meet up with friends, I don't put anything in my travel case that I wouldn't be willing to share. Right. So other than that, yeah, man, I'm always like, hey, do you guys want to try this, try that? If a guy hasn't tried a cigar that I really like, I'll get it for him, have him try it. I have no problem with that. I think this whole thing is built on generosity, right? And then, dude, people are always sharing, so like, hey, man, try this. Hey, did you try this? You like this? I think that's one of the beauties of the cigar industry is that generosity. And you see that, I mean, if you join a forum, Cigar Noise, whatever, people are always sending each other those bombs and stuff like that. And, you know, so it's a fun part of the industry for sure.
Yeah. But now what about like if you go to somebody's house or you're out and about and then somebody says, okay, here you go. What do you do?
It has to be something I like. Listen, I will tell you this, and people think I'm crazy. I will not smoke just to smoke. I just won't do that. I can't. It's not if I'm not enjoying the experience attached to the cigar, I just won't do it. I'd rather not smoke. So if there's nothing that I like that they have, I'll just politely decline. And like Drew, I a lot of times I always have cigars on me. So it's, you know, and then if that's the case, I would probably turn it around and be like, hey man, you know what? I got something actually I want you to try. And then I'd go get my travel case and share something from mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is like I'm expected to bring cigars. Like if I go somewhere and I don't have, people are just like confused out of their mind. They're just like,
what?
I mean, you know,
yeah.
I didn't know it was that kind of party, or I don't.
Should have warned me.
Yeah. So now it's like, now my wife is like, "Did you bring cigars?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, for sure." Jesus, right?
And honestly,
I'd hate to be in the spot where I can't smoke and then I didn't bring anything, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
So Danny comes to Smokers Abbey in Austin, right? Brings his travel case, puts it down on the table, and starts throwing cigars at me like, you know, it's like a food fight or something like that. I mean, just, hey, man, try this. Again, another absolute, like, crazy, generous dude, you know? And
I don't pay for most of my cigars.
Oh,
just F1. Like, I don't want to take all this super credit.
The bromance.
No, look at credit. We spend so much time talking about the people that are jagoffs. And you know what, man, I want to spend time highlighting some of the people that are really awesome. So I feel like everybody on this podcast is awesome. And there are good people out there. I mean, listen, there's some stuff happening right now that people are talking about the cigar industry in a negative light. And so, yeah, we need to be smart about this. So there is some really, really good people involved, and it's a generous community overall.
It is.
Yeah,
for sure. How about you, Corey?
So I was actually thinking about a time, and this is very relevant to Mo, and for two reasons. Reason number one is we met up in a shop in Chicago, and he had his like 170 count I'm pretty sure it was handcuffed to your arm when you brought it in.
I'm not stands per eye. Oh
and,
shit! Did I say?
I mean, speaking of generosity, you know, the first cigar that you pulled out, you said, "Oh my God, have you ever had this?" And it was a Byron cigar. And I know what those MSRP for. And I was like, dude, like, no fucking way. And he's like, try it because I love it. Smoke this cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt bad in the moment, but also part of it was like the experience that we shared, being able to smoke that cigar and just enjoy our time together, the experience. And I feel the same way when I'm giving a cigar to someone. It's like, I love this so much. I want you to try it. Especially, and this is the connection number 2. And Mo, I always use this. We just talked about on the podcast. Mo says there are people who smoke cigars and they're cigar smokers. You identify with people who are cigar smokers, I feel like that dynamic changes. You're more often willing to share, even if it's something that's rare, even if it's something expensive, because you've created that connection. Like, you know, the kind of experience someone who really enjoys cigars is going to get out of that. Price not being the determining factor, but the experience being the determining factor. I've got cigars in a bunch of my humidors and all the shit that I have that I reserve for people who may smoke a cigar on occasion. I know that they're not going to connect with it in the same way I do. And I know sometimes it's I want a cigar in my fingers because I want to be like the other 10 people that are around me. In that case, I have stuff for people to smoke, and it's good stuff. It's not shit. It's not like laced with anything. But it's decent stuff. But like for anyone that's on this podcast, I'm going to reserve my good stuff and I'm going to bring stuff with me. It's like, if you've never had it, or even if you have, I want you to have that shared connection experience that I have with that cigar, no matter the price point, no matter what it represents from an MSRP. That's just that kind of connection that I make. If it's me going to someone else's place, I have zero expectation. Even if I don't bring cigars with me, I don't ask for anything. I don't expect to receive anything. It is what it is. Like, I'm not going to go, well, what do you have? What do you have available? I'm definitely not going to pick through anyone's inventory and say, okay, well, it's going to be that $30 cigar. It's just never going to happen. It's just not in my nature. I think some people will take advantage of those things, but I think if you are part of the cigar community and a lot of this is experiential for you, that tends to be kind of a lesson thing that happens or occurs. But for those, jack-offs that are out there that may want to rummage through your humidor that know nothing about cigars and they're looking for a price tag that is amplified, well, fuck those people. They're not really my friends.
Do you remember how we met?
Mm-hmm.
It was outside.
How'd you guys meet?
It was around the fire. And I was like, I've never had a cigar before. He's like, well, you should try one. You should try one. And I was, I don't know if I want to. And he's like, well, listen, I know this is new for you. And he's like, how about try this? Try something sweet. You're a sweet lady. And he handed me a mint Java, Drew Estate mint Java. And that was how we met, and it was super sweet. And we've been together ever since. And I'm just glad to have you with me. And
give him a kiss.
It was a good experience.
Put some sugar on daddy.
But here's the thing. Corey brings up a good point, though. Back into my Buffalo Bill voice. I feel like most of my friends are just casual smokers, right? They'll only smoke if they're with me. Like, so when I do go to like a party or an event where they're kind of expecting me to bring stuff, I do pick stuff that are relatively value related that are like 45 minute to an hour smoke. And the reason I do that is because most of them don't finish. And I want to give them something that they're going to enjoy, but they don't finish, because really at the end of the day, it is about the experience, where we will just like shoot the breeze and we'll talk and they'll enjoy a decent cigar. But I never give them anything what I would consider like top shelf. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're going to be smoking for an hour or less, and they're going to put down half the cigar. So I learned my lesson early on. I was like, you need to try this cigar. And I'd hand them like a $13 cigar, and it just sat there just like. So
you gonna finish that?
Yeah, you gotta finish. I'll finish it.
Oh, you looked at it, Chris? How was it?
It's similar. like if somebody offers me something, I'll say, you know what? Is how about you choose something for me? This is what I'm looking for. Flavor profile tonight, this morning, afternoon, whatever. You choose it for me. What are you comfortable with? And I kind of just leave it up to them. I know it's a great gesture. I love that. And again, like it goes back to what you were saying, Mo. It's about the community. Like this is what it is really about. Like it's very generous. And I just like, you know, I don't want to be that person to just pick something. What if if they're not like you, Cal, and say, okay, don't pick that because that was a gift. I don't know. You know, some people don't remember to say that. They just want to be so like, you know, they want to give, but I let them choose for me. And whatever they give me based off of what I'm looking for, I'll appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a good take.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What about you, Amy?
I usually let them, like, I just look.
She's going to go off.
No, I am not. Actually, I'm not.
Do it.
No.
I have something before this ends. It's going to get her going. I promise.
So this is what I usually do. I go off like, just like Mukau is like, I just look and see if there's anything that I have never had. And I said, is this okay if I pick this one? Because sometimes they are taken off, because I have had situations where there's just that one person that like, oh, you got anything in there?
Oh, I think everybody has.
Oh,
Like, bitch, who are you? Like, who invited you to ask for or go to the fucking humidor or something? You know, like I just go ahead and just basically I will ask them. I sometimes do what Erica does, who is like, oh, you pick something. I don't fit. And especially if they're smoke, they have a lot of good smokes. I don't want to just go ahead and pick one of the good ones, because it makes me feel kind of weird. And then if there's just basic stuff or regular things that I smoke or I haven't smoked, then I will just tell them, I would love to try this. I never had this. Is this okay? And then I'll go off from there. Now, I do have something to say though.
Uh-oh.
When there is somebody that is in a lounge, right? We're at a lounge. We're not like just in anybody's houses, backyard, or in the beach or whatever. And they're bragging about what the hell they smoke. And they're talking about, oh, I'm going to buy you guys all smoke and all this. I'm like, oh yeah, let's go to the humidor. Okay, let's see if you can.
Is that where you take advantage?
Oh yeah.
But wait,
You want to put your money where your mouth is. But wait,
That's a Saka unicorn time.
I'm gonna fucking go with my favorite, Padronated, bitch.
But wait, then isn't that kind of contradicting? Like you're saying
no. Somebody that I do not know, and they're just talking shit, and they want to brag about things, and I don't really know you, and you want to just go ahead and, oh, I only see.
You want to see their expression.
I want to see if you're full of shit or not.
Oh.
These oral blancos.
Don't challenge me, bitch. I know what the fuck I like to smoke. You want to talk about good smokes and what this is what you smoke? Come on, let's go into the humidor. I said it like at least 3 times, so it's okay.
So for Amy, so for you, yeah, that dynamic is different. You know, being at a humidor, that world changes a little bit. You know, between the collective group, either as consumer, brand representation, and manufacturer. Being at a humidor that's like there's so many factors I think that are involved there, where that dynamic shifts a lot in this conversation.
Yeah. I have fun. I like to have fun sometimes.
I dig it.
Yeah, it's really about that. Now I want to switch it up really quick. Pet peeves.
Ooh. Pet peeves.
Ooh. I'm looking at everybody's facial expression right now.
Oh, Drew.
True.
Judge Drew.
That's true.
So a lot of us have pet peeves when it comes to the industry, whether it's in a cigar lounge, manufacturer, like what we were talking about, wraps, or whatever the case may be, or, you know, licking your cigar before using the community cutter. And I think It's just
that's a no-go in this world today, man.
It's right, but then
No.
Oh no.
But then why did it take this for people to realize to wipe down their community cutter, or hey, suggest a cutter? Hey, maybe you want to buy your own cutter, or just like shit like that, little things like that. Yeah. So how about we talk about a pet peeve or pet peeves that you all may have? Danny?
Oh, nice. And I don't know why.
Don't pick me.
Don't pick me.
No, and I don't know why it bugs me so much. And here's the thing, I have a few pet peeves. But this one, I'll probably be the only one with it. And I understand it's a thing in Europe. I don't live in Europe. And America is the #1 cigar market in the world by far. Like, it's not even close. But someone that takes their band off before they even light their cigar, I don't understand. I don't understand why it bugs me so much, but I don't understand the point of that. Now, unless you're trying to hide that you're smoking a mint Java,
you taste
I'll be able to tell you what you're smoking.
You would smell that a mile away.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't need to hide it by taking off the band. It's going to be exposed real fast.
But if it's something like that, now what's funny, Amy, or actually Erica, well, we've talked about this, and I know I get it. Like, if you like that cigar but you hate the brand, or whatever, maybe you don't want anybody seeing. But for whatever reason, it just drives me crazy. It's like, man, we put a lot of effort and work into that band, and it's also kind of a bit of it's marketing, it's advertising, and if there's anyone that thinks you're a cigar. What was the word? The sommelier, right? And you took the band off. It's like why did you do that? And it's stupid. Listen, of all the things that you can get upset about, but just a weird pet peeve for me is taking the band off before you smoke. I don't get it. But
you understand where I come from. Like, there are so many great cigars out there. Big manufacturers, small batch manufacturers, just all these different brands. And over time, it's like, you see in us being in the industry, it's different. I'm smoking that cigar and I'm looking at this band and I'm like, I don't want to fucking smoke this cigar. And it's probably different for those other people that you see. But for me, it's a little bit different, especially for us in the States. It's just different. And obviously, I'm still buying those cigars. I still support that brand, but I just can't sit there for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, and smoking a cigar with this band on it. I'm not going to take a picture of it. I'm not going to post it. I really want to enjoy the time. Drew, is that you?
It's Mo.
That's got to be Mo.
Yeah, it's got to be Mo.
And Mo's so nonchalant, like not me.
My neighbors are whatever. I don't know what the hell they're doing. You're talking about the beeping, right?
Yeah.
I thought your wife was trying to get in the garage and you just kept slamming the door shut.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? No, I'm smoking. But yeah, in that case, it's a little bit different for me. But if I really enjoy the cigar and the cigar company, I appreciate them. But I'm not gonna take off the band. I'm proud to smoke it, but with certain brands, I'm just not proud to smoke it with the band on it. I'm sorry, Danny.
That's okay.
That's okay?
That's okay.
It's okay.
I don't smoke with too much anyway. No,
Drew, what about you?
The people that smoke through the band.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
My man.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it
Wait,
is.
why? Is there like a reasoning behind this?
I have
They
no
love
idea.
to taste the Burmacol.
They want to taste the ink on the label.
Wait a second. Listen. I know Skip is watching this, but I'm pretty sure I've seen Skip smoke through many bands before. I've seen his pictures on Instagram, and those fuckers are half burnt on fire, and he's just chugging through the biggest freaking donger I've ever seen.
So Drew, why does this piss you off so much? We got to hear more from Drew.
Yeah, I want to know this too.
It doesn't piss me off, but it's just stupid people. Stupid people. Second would be the one that they post a picture with everything they own in the picture with the cigar.
They should put the bills that come with those things too, right? Like, here's my car payment, here's my mortgage.
Like, why does that piss you off so much? Is it because we can't have that, or is it just what is it about it pisses you off? What's in the photo? Paint us the picture. Photo, if you pull it up on Instagram or wherever, when you see it, you're like, I fucking hate that, man. Like, what's in that photo?
It'll normally be a car or a boat with a watch.
Yep.
With the cigar will be there, a lighter, a cutter, a pocket knife or a gun,
An AirPod, like,
yeah,
wallet.
everything the guy carried with him, or girl. I haven't seen girls do it as much, but guys,
that's
do
more
a
of a
lot.
guy thing. Yeah,
Corojo
that's like that.
We do it.
That's like the guy thoughts.
Yes,
The male
It's
thoughts.
that weird luxurious lifestyle that we talk about. Mo, we were talking about that the other day, where it's
Oh,
like,
don't even get me started.
yeah,
Oh,
I
let's
don't
get
know how
him
much time
started.
but it is. So I kind of agree. Like, I didn't even think about that as a pet peeve, but man, that's one thing, because I think it's great for you, but I don't think there's a connectedness to the majority of the cigar community in terms of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Drew, what do you think that they're trying to prove? Look. He's not like.
He has to filter. He has to filter out what he really wants to say.
Can we say that?
Is there a filter on that microphone?
I swear to God, this is so
He's
much
like-
better
he's
than
like,
just
oh.
listening to the Sultans, because I can now see his reaction when he talks about this shit. I love it. I love it.
Is Drew not the Elon Musk of cigars right now? I
think
can
so.
see his brain processing, and he goes, "Should I say it or should I not say it?"
It's say it.
It's a penis complex. They're compensating for how small their penis is.
I'll steer away.
He said it, everybody.
The penis is not on the table.
No, it's not.
Typically not.
That's true.
That's great.
Now, Corojo, do you have something to add to this?
Hey, which is why Amy was showing Churchill's, by the way.
I'm just, the thing is, my pet peeve is that us women are overshadowed by our tits and our vaginas and our asses. And the thing is that, I just, I'm a reputable hoe. And these women that are in this industry that think by me putting this phallic thing in my mouth is a representation of putting a penis in my mouth is somehow sexy and going to drive my Instagram following is bullshit. I smoke these things because I love them. Not because of my tits, not because of my ass, none of that. It's because I love cigars, babe. Do you understand?
Why do you have to show your tits and ass?
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think this is the pivot point here, I think.
Listen, I
like that there's a point here buried in deep, deep ignorance.
Now, first and foremost, if I'm taking a photo of myself, I want to look good. Do you know what I'm saying? But
It's going to take a lot more than a photo.
That doesn't mean...
Lots of filters.
Yeah, you have to filter the shit out of that.
That doesn't mean you treat me as a sex symbol because I love cigars. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
I guess.
It's called the thirst trap.
I think if Chris keeps talking, we're gonna have to get Cal a new liver.
Yeah. and we're gonna have to get ourselves an attorney.
I think so.
Oh shit!
Don't be a slut because you're a slut. You know, smoke cigars because you love them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, we know.
What would Buffalo Bill say?
Buffalo Bill would say,
I think Buffalo Bill is Corey.
going to, you know, Buffalo Bill would say, yeah, I'm hard. There's no doubt about that. But that's not gonna get me to buy that fucking cigar.
Why doesn't it though?
Because if your cigar is shit, it don't matter how fucking good you look. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
It's about the cigar.
Corey?
Corey.
Tell him,
Just to expand on what you said,
tell him.
in a serious note,
Chad Kruger.
whoa. Hey,
Oh.
screenshot it and look at this photograph.
Nickelback. Come on,
Look at
Amy.
That's
my
Corey
pants-
Exotic or
I got
Corey
my pants around my
Peeves.
knees and I'm ready to go. So to expand on what Chris was saying, I think
Corojo.
it is certainly Corojo. Sorry, I don't know who I'm talking to anymore. I think it's a ploy that tends to get immediate reaction, but unfortunately doesn't hold up to any sort of standards around the cigar for long term. So really, essentially, there's diminishing returns if there's not if it's not truly a good cigar. And really, what does that represent?
Mhm.
I struggle with that. I personally never bought a cigar because I've seen it represented in a fancy style. It's just not how I connect. That's for me personally. Maybe that works for some people, but I still think the time and attention and the marketing and the branding needs to be, it needs to lend towards what that cigar is and its viability in the community overall, not essentially just simply represented in a sexy fashion. But I will say this, my biggest pet peeve, and Erica, you brought this one up before as far as the community cutter, so I am not going to harp on that one, but there's something that does not disgust me more than that. You might as well just lick the cutter. Like, I wish people would just do that so they can just kind of mark it when they walk up to it. Just lick the community cutter and just go, here it is. It's for everybody now. I have a hard time when I'm walking in a humidor and there's somebody in there with me, and specifically in cigars that aren't wrapped in cellophane, where people are finger fucking the shit cigars one by one. And I mean, I've watched guys go through entire humidors, picking stuff up, rubbing it, putting it down, and I literally take mental note. I go, not that one, not that one, not that one, not getting down in that box, and then I'm limited to a small amount of inventory and then I think, so then my head immediately goes to, well, I'm just watching this one guy. How many more people have done this before I got in here over a long period of time? And I literally get nauseous to my stomach. So typically when I go to a lounge, I'm finding something that's wrapped in cellophane, just to know that it's protected from, because listen, if anything COVID-19 has brought forward, it is how nasty human beings are.
Yeah.
And I am absolutely disgusted when I see that. I will never pick up a cigar in a humidor.
You mean you don't smell it? You don't smell it through the cellophane?
Do you know?
Or put it up your nose.
Yeah. And try to snort it.
Wipe it on my taint for a few seconds. I don't know. Does that do anything? Get it in my pores so I can really feel it. Like it is absolutely nauseating when I see it. Like, because then I just immediately, the association is so like, well, that person washed their hands, and I look at someone who's like really sweaty because humidor's right, humidity's high. I'm just like, I can't do it. It makes me nauseous. So I immediately walk to the next thing that I know is at least somewhat protected.
Have you ever taken the box and just kind of like picked it up and you just kind of like dump them out and like just try to pick out the one in the back?
Yeah, pick one that's sitting in the very bottom of the box. Yeah, I think that's my biggest one, because I've just seen it too many times. And Amy, I'm sure you've seen it before, and I cringe. And the sad part is like, if you're a retailer, what other than putting policies in place, I feel like that's a very difficult thing to police. almost impossible.
Very much.
So I think you really,
Yeah, it
as a consumer, have to use your own discretion and understanding like what can be picked over and what's being touched. And you're really playing the odds as far as like, you know, does this person, you know, have at least a minimal sense of hygiene? And I would say, knowing what I know now and probably what I've known my entire life, most likely not. So I tend to stay away from
If
those.
that makes you sick, love, I will wear my plum velvet gloves and pick out my cigars next time.
I'd appreciate that.
Thing.
That's one thing. It's some people looked at like when we even, you know, we've been talking about this for such a long time before all of this pandemic has been happening. We're looked at a certain way, or some people approach us really upset. They're like, why the fuck did you say that? And this and that. But now you are practicing, you're paying attention to these things. Why did it have to take this crazy shit that's happening in the world for you to make the adjustments needed? Like, why? Like, it's kind of like what I've been saying to Amy. I'm like, whenever I went on an airplane, for years I've been doing it. I've taken my wipes. I've been looked at like I was a fucking crazy maniac for wiping down.
Was it because of the wipes?
Because of the wipes.
Oh.
My seatbelt, like wherever I'm gonna touch. But now, oh, you want to ask my Clorox wipes because of that. But what happened before? What about the 1,000 people that were sitting in your seat before you that didn't wipe down your seat? Like, it's disgusting. But it's same thing applies to the cigar industry. It's like, you know, you walk into a lounge. Why are these things not happening? Why aren't you cleaning the glasses that you have in your shop the way that you need to clean your glasses? Give me a fucking styrofoam cup if I have to. Like, I'd much rather. Let me bring my own glass.
I'm gonna start bringing my fucking my own glass to places. Like,
Oh yeah, I do that every time.
No, nasty.
It happens. I mean, obviously, you guys know it happens in our area a hell of a lot more, just because of whatever numbers it is, but because we have a higher population here, and then you have all of these cigar lounges that have all of these things. It's just, don't cut my cigar with that cutter. Don't do these things. Like, why are you doing that? Ask first, or do the things that you need to do to make sure that everybody is safe. And it just boggles my mind. Now, Corey, do you have any other pet peeves? I feel like you have like a ton of them. But do you have another one?
Are you baiting me?
Yeah.
Okay, then I don't know where you're going. So give me a clue.
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like I've got a ton. I will say this, just to and attempt to expand upon the cutter thing. I do appreciate, however, I wonder if this happens with everybody. There are certain lounges I go to, which leads me to believe that there's already an understanding of the cigar lounge that, hey, this community cutter that, you know, the 100 people have walked in today have been using. I've had people take out fresh cutters for me that have just been in the box, and they'll take them out and cut my cigar for me if I want them cut.
Little $1 ones?
No, like Cigar, just pull it out of the box. It's retail for sale, never been open, and they'll cut my cigar. So it leads me to believe that they're an understanding that I am, that the community cutter either hasn't been disinfected or they go, I'm not going to let this guy use this thing. That's actually happened to me on numerous occasions. So,
but don't you like to think like being a little dirty, you know, being a little dirty?
Like a little dirty?
Yeah.
When I walk out of there with cold sores on my mouth, no, I'm good.
Like my lip is kind of itchy, you know, like.
Well, let me share this story, and the guy might be watching, so I'm not gonna call him out, but he knows who he is.
Oh shit!
And he's gonna laugh. But I did an event up in New York, and I had a Don Bosco.
Kind of itchy.
Like a week before, like the same week of the event. So the cigar actually hadn't been released. And I had about a third of it left, maybe a little less than a third of it left. And I put it on the ashtray, and I'm done. Next cigar, because it's kind of, This guy comes up to me and he's like, man, that's a great cigar. I'm like, oh, for real? What cigar? He's like, Don Bosco. I'm like, oh, where'd you get it? He's like, no, this is yours from the ashtray.
Oh!
said, "Are you for real?" He's like, "Because I'm thinking, I'm like, it has to be for nobody has these." Like, and I just sat there, and I was inebriated a bit, so it like the next day it hit me, and I remember telling the guys I was with, I'm like, "You know what so and so did?" And they're like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Man, if it was that bad, I just gave me one." But that is, I can't even say that's a pet peeve because it's never happened before and or since. But just to show you next level of licking band and cutting cigar, or licking cigar and cutting it.
Sounds like a weasel move.
He was happy, right?
1,000%. I don't even know if that's possible.
Was it?
That's like a guy who shows up to a party and everybody's eating and they don't want to pay into the meal and everybody has shit left over on their plate and he goes, "You gonna finish that?" That's weird.
I know.
That's the guy that did it. I love the guy that did it. He's a really good guy, but I was flabbergasted.
I gotta be real with you. Maybe this is the dirty side of me again. And have you ever just like taken a cigar and like passed it around the room like, "Guys, you should totally try this"?
Not once.
Not once.
I have said, guys, you should totally try this. But what I mean is go buy your own. Or here, I have one for you. But that's about it.
Yeah, it was like a story that reminds me of a story that happened maybe about like 3 years ago. I was in the Cigar Inn, and I was with two friends, and then these 4 other guys were sitting with us and just talking, and obviously they were just out there to have a good time. They knew very little about the cigar, like how to smoke a cigar. Like they knew very little, but they were just there to, have a good time. So there was one gentleman that was talking to a friend of mine because my friend was like, "Hey, listen, this is a really good cigar. You should try it." And they're kind of like leaning into each other. He's like, "Yeah, you should, such and such. This is a cigar. This is the flavor profile. Based on what you're smoking, I think you would really like it." Like he did that gesture. The guy took it out of his hand and started smoking it. I was there. I was just like, "What?" And his face just like, he just couldn't believe what just happened. And the guy then, he was just like, he just like smoked it like, "Yeah, it's good." Then he's like, "Here you go," and try to give it back. He's like, "Nah, man, that's yours. I'm gonna go grab another one to smoke. But the next time you should grab your own so you can enjoy your own cigar." It's like, this is
damn. He didn't offer to buy him another one.
No.
Huh.
Mm-mm. But then he kept smoking it.
I bet. Yeah.
Oh, he's committed at that point. Sure,
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? This is insane. So, Denny, why don't you tell us something else? Like, what's another what's a pet peeve of yours?
How we ask Rich?
Work on.
Yeah, Rich.
Rich, come. Tell us.
Okay, so I got 3 things to quick say. The first is, Vlad, stop asking to come into the Zoom, bro.
Yeah, he's texting me too, man.
You're awesome. I love you. Get out of my DMs. Number two is the pet peeve, which is actually deeply hypocritical, and I understand that. Is that my pet peeve is people who are incredibly judgmental, but I'm also incredibly judgmental. In the end, let people enjoy what they enjoy. If you're smoking a $1 cigar and you love it, more fucking power to you, right? Like, I wish that the cigars I loved were $1. That would be amazing. It's just not the reality I live in. So stop judging people. Vlad says, "Damn." I'm in your DMs. All right. And number 3, I was calling out brand owners earlier. So I absolutely have to say, Skip said if Amy wasn't lit, he'd be here, and his ass is not here. She is not lit. So
Better get
the
in
fuck,
here.
dude.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
I ain't lit, bro.
Challenging.
All right.
I'll take a sip. Cheers, but I ain't lit yet.
Oh, he did say it.
He'll come in.
He did say it.
What about I asked Skip what's his pet peeve?
Oh God.
Tell me about your pet peeve.
There we fucking go. Here it is.
Here we go.
What up? Tell me.
I don't know if our viewers are ready for that.
Maybe.
What do you think, Dan?
Maybe not. Maybe.
I don't know what mood he's in. He's in the other room.
Call his ass over.
Well,
I can tell him to come in.
Is Sean still there?
I'm still here. Rosales is here. They're all kind of hanging out. Hang on.
Are you guys practicing social distancing?
Apparently.
Not. No.
Yeah, I saw how close they got, and I don't see any masks. So.
What happened, Corey? Can't hear you.
I can't.
He's muted.
I was gonna say you
Oh,
can't.
sorry, he's coming right now.
Guys aren't sitting inside that lounge licking inside of each other's mouths all day.
We all have multiple cutters and multiple lighters.
Multiple
All right.
lighters, multiple
I'm
cutters.
just gonna remind you, this is what you asked for, and just here we go.
Yes.
What did they ask for?
So I told them, you said if Amy didn't get lit, you were gonna come in here.
Okay.
I ain't
There he goes. There he goes.
Damn.
He's ready, bro.
What
Damn.
He's like, what the fuck do you want?
Props for keeping the promise, bro.
That's a power.
Yeah,
That's a
talk about-
power set.
We're gonna talk about cigar hose. What are we gonna talk about?
Don't
No,
you
we gotta
fucking
talk
dare.
about-
Don't you fucking dare.
The Instagram cigar thoughts of America.
Now, my question to you is, we're talking about pet peeves. So now, what are your pet peeves? Tell me a little bit about a few.
Or a
of them.
lot.
Or a lot. I love to hear them.
It's a safe zone.
Like in terms of what the industry.
Industry-wide. Industry-wide.
Why? Whatever is your pet peeves.
I don't know. Either I can say I don't really get that upset about much, or I could say I could talk for 2 hours about the things that annoy me. So.
Okay, so what annoys you?
Exactly.
There you go.
Tell me.
I mean, really, I don't really get that emotionally invested in it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very neutral stance. Sure.
I don't know. I mean, Mo and them generally cover it every week, so I don't really. That's like my therapy, so I get cleared up of all my.
Is that what it is?
Plus, Chris and Corey basically have a perspective too that they'll say a lot of shit that a lot of people won't say, but I don't know. I think you guys were talking about it earlier before, is just like this general lack of authenticity in the business, right? Mm-hmm. And I think there's my perspective on the business is, there's no really top secret way of making great cigars. Mm-hmm. And really all it boils down to is just using really good materials, taking care of your people so that they are trained, and you make the cigars as good as you can, and then you do the quality assurance as good as you can, and then at the end of the day, it really boils down to there's a bunch of good cigars on the market, and it just really boils down to kind of like either a kind of certain flavor that you can. I mean, a lot of people come to us and say, "Hey, we love you guys as a company, but everything you make is too strong for me. I just can't smoke it all the time. Like it just, it's like too strong." So. When they say stuff like that, I'll say, "Hey, have you tried Aganorsa? Have you tried the stuff that Nick makes? He makes a lot of things that are kind of in that mild to medium range. Have you tried what in the Dominican do you like? So there's I don't get offended when people say that they don't like our cigars because they just don't fit their flavor profile. But, there's this whole industry out there of people who are supposedly professional reviewers who really don't know the very first thing about tobacco in general.
Right.
I mean, Mo can tell you, and this was my experience, and I know it's Mo's experience now, is that I smoked cigars for almost 20 years before I went to Nicaragua. I mean, I went on the trips like Camp Camacho with Christian Aroa. I went on the Rocky Patel trips. I went on all those trips, and I learned about the processes, generically. But I didn't really understand anything about making cigars until I spent years in the factory, right? And I know Mo can tell you he went down, even not even thinking he knew a lot, and then just came back just unbelievably heavy from the stuff he didn't know,
Yeah.
And then when you start learning things, it's like scratching the surface, and then there's more things that you have to learn, and then more things after that. And then there's all the mix of, people, time is money, people try to take shortcuts, people try to swap in tobaccos that aren't your tobaccos because they think, you don't know any different. And at the end of the day, it changes how you view cigars in the sense that you start looking at them a lot more objectively. Like there's a lot of cigars that I don't necessarily smoke on a regular basis because they aren't my flavor profile, but objectively, I know they're really good cigars. And that's why I always bring up Aganorsa, right? I mean, they're very on top of their process with the stuff that they're making. On the flip side, I'll just say it, Padron is not really that much on top of their process. When they got really simple tobacco, it's if you're paying for the $18, $20 cigars, the tobacco's fermented really well. They're not always made really well, and they're not always really pretty. So a lot of times they're underfilled. They have patches, and you shouldn't be getting that, in my opinion, on a hand-rolled cigar, but certainly not on a $24 hand-rolled cigar. But that said, I smoke Padrones 10 times a week because I love the flavor.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's the exact opposite example where I'm paying that price and I'm buying that cigar just because I like the flavor. But subjectively, right, I like it. But objectively, if I look at it as a cigar maker, a lot of those cigars I wouldn't allow to go out of my factory, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So,
yeah, makes total sense.
So, and I'm sure somebody's gonna be pussy hurt that, that I said I don't like, I'm saying I love Padron cigars. I smoke them all the time, but knowing about cigars and how to make cigars, I have a different objective opinion about them than I used to have.
So what do you think about then cigar reviewers?
I think in general, if you're going to put a lot of time and effort into putting out news or doing a podcast where you talk about it all the time, I mean, let's face it, Chris and Corey don't have the most educated palates in the world. Neither do Mo and these guys, but they know what they like, right? And I also love that they just talk about the industry because they have a passion for the industry. And at the end of the day, as a cigar brand, every time you talk about the industry and get people excited about the industry in a positive way, I think it benefits us all, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the petty drama I'm not into. I mean, like your show is a lot of times really negative, but at the same time, what you're trying to do is you're looking at it from a consumer's perspective, right, trying to get retailers to get their shit together.
Yeah.
Which that's an unwinnable battle, but
yeah,
I appreciate that you guys try to do it, right? So, but you're not talking to consumers. You're like more than anything, you're commiserating to consumers. Hey, I feel you. I've walked in the humidor and been disrespected. I've walked into the dirty lounge. I've walked into the furniture that doesn't match. Right?
Broken chairs.
The yellow sticky. So in that sense, the problem is that the people who need to be listening to you probably aren't. Mm-hmm. So I think you're just kind of preaching to the choir a little bit a lot of times.
It's about.
I think if you're a cigar reviewer, if you're putting out lists and people like Coop and Halfwell and these guys developing palettes, I really think that you ought to really dedicate a lot more time to really starting to understand objectively about tobacco. So you can, Mo can attest to this, so you can say, look, I may or may not like the cigars that Mo gets made. Of course, I like them because it's really the same kind of DNA as our factory. Raul, 65-70% of the tobacco we use in Nicco Sueño comes from Guscura, which is where the majority of the tobacco at Noxa comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same people selling the same kind of tobacco, just to 2 different factories. And then the guys that are running the factories where the cigars are made are brothers. They grew up together. So there are some things at Noxa that I think Raul is a supervisor of making that he probably wouldn't make if it was entirely up to him, but it works for that factory and it works for Noxa, right? But when Raul sits down with someone like Mo and says, hey, I want to make a cigar that, that I'm really proud of, what comes out of that is going to be good, right? And it's going to be something that I like because it's the same DNA as our cigars, basically.
Right.
Right.
Right. But Mo can tell you that when he's looking at his samples, he's looking at samples that are from all basically the same quality tobacco that are all made essentially under the same kind of strict rules. And then it just becomes a subjective process from that point to decide, what it is he wants his cigar to be, right? Mm-hmm. And, as a reviewer, I could say, I give this cigar that Mo has his name on an 87, I give this one a 91, and I give this one a 93. But really, objectively, they're all very, very good. So I think that's part of the challenge is that some of the people who are reviewing cigars don't know enough about the tobacco to really be objective, and really they overvalue their subjective opinion.
Sure, there's a lot of them. It's a matter of, here we are, we're talking about who we are, and Corey and Chris, their palates are constantly changing and growing, and then us, like, we have this whole other group of people that are going to change the wave and all that old school, like you said. Okay, it's kind of like we're here, we're like that tier 3, but eventually it's a matter of going up and about. And when it goes like those reviewers and so forth, it hits home when you say, like, not a lot of them know a lot of shit, right? So it's, and I can follow where my palate is. I find where, when a reviewer is talking, I actually go towards, like, what is Chris and Corey saying? What is, what can I talk to Mo about, or Cal and Drew? And it's like, all right, what are you guys smoking? What do you guys, I can connect with them, right?
Well, you guys are a lot further along than I was. Like, I guess Chris and Corey, you guys have probably been smoking cigars for 4 or 5 years, right?
Me, yeah.
Yeah. So, but you guys are a lot further along than where I was 4, 5, 12 years into smoking, because the only resource I had was Cigar Aficionado, really.
Right.
So if I liked a cigar and Cigar Aficionado said that it wasn't good, I had no point of reference of what, maybe they knew what they were talking about and I didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of forums and stuff on the web, but it was really just a bunch of jackasses, with their opinions. They really didn't know. Saka, for example, is one of the few people who actually knew what he was talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So, but you guys, like, now average consumers have dozens of different outlets that are far more knowledgeable, I think, even far more engaged than Cigar Aficionado is. Mm-hmm. And in a lot of ways, you guys have a lot of more connectivity with the actual brands than we had. I mean, back when I very first started smoking cigars, cigar companies didn't even universally sell to cigar stores. They sold only through wholesale distributors, right? A lot of them. So you didn't even have you had no more connection to the people at Ashton than you have to the people at Anheuser-Busch, right? But then what happened was people like, Wayne Suarez and Rocky and these kinds of people started getting out on the road. And then you start getting to know the companies and the people behind it, which, really could go both ways.
Sure.
And you find out, like, from Gurkha this week, that could go wrong for you. or it could go like, the way it has when we built our company, which is through personal relationships, right? And the way Mo's going to have to build his company to be successful.
Sure.
So,
Well,
you know, there's a lot of little things like, you know, people who like, to me, people who V-cut their cigars annoy me.
all right, so there we go.
Get the fuck out, Skip.
Like, we gotta keep asking. Like, God damn it. Like, okay,
So
so
why
why?
does it annoy you?
Why?
Why is it one of your pet peeves? Why?
Well, if you understand what the V-cut is and you understand how to use it and you're using a really good V-cutter, and you're the kind of smoker who doesn't really leave the cigar in your mouth at all, you just take a puff, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it except that it actually destructs the head of the cigar a little bit, right? And so it potentially creates a bunch of construction problems. But if you do it because you think it's just like a fancy way of cutting a cigar and it's better than all others, it's because you're uninformed, right? And then when you try to inform them, they don't listen. So
What about punch cutters? Like, what about the people that only use punch cutters?
So again, a punch cutter is perfectly fine. It's like an exact guillotine cut that only takes the cap off. But the problem is most of the punches are made for the size cigars were 15 years ago.
Right.
If you're smoking a 56 ring gauge cigar, you need a really big hole punch for it to not cause problems, right? You can't put a little hole punch in a big cigar.
For sure.
You're gonna have problems, right? So again, it goes back to being educated. I don't like people who are afraid to touch up the cigar or who over touch it up, right? I don't like people who rub their cigar on the side of the ashtray.
Oh,
that annoys me.
Wait a minute. What do you mean? Wait.
You just hit a nerve right now,
dude. What do you like? I've probably seen it a million and one times, but what do you mean? Okay, they're rubbing it against the ashtray.
So to me, if I'm smoking a cigar and the ash gets long, I usually just let it fall wherever it falls, right?
In your lap?
Then I try to clean up after. Yeah, on my shirt, on my lap, wherever.
That's sexy. Yeah.
If I'm in a place where I don't want to make a mess, I'll every now and then try to tap it off if it'll come off real easy. But there's people who just sit and rub every bit of ash off.
Yeah.
I honestly hate, like, with my guts, okay?
Oh, man.
When a person goes ahead and takes their cigar and they're done smoking and they go like this to the ashtray. And
yeah,
they
that's
press
really bad.
like hard. And then that smoke, that charredness, and that.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want to kill them.
Yeah, we actually made a video with the Modern Rogue guys that covered a lot of the basics, but we covered that too. Only people who lick their cigar and then try to cut it with a cutter that everybody uses.
We talked about that.
Yes. So when somebody says to you, Skip, like, oh, well, I lick my cigar before I cut it because every time I cut it, it cracks. What's your response to it?
That makes total sense if you're using your own cutter. I mean, if you're using your own cutter, you can stick it up your butt before you light the cigar. I don't care.
That's what Corojo does.
That's all your business.
Yeah.
Corojo loves to do that shit.
Oh, yeah.
You can moisten your cigar however you want.
Oh.
You know, whatever.
Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
All right, Skip, I got to give you major props for a particular thing that you guys did, which was hiring Danny Vasquez.
So stupid.
I got to give you major props for that.
If you really knew, you wouldn't think that way, but no, look, Danny's
He's phenomenal.
Look, Danny, so we have people on our team who are very different, right? And, you know, Danny's different than everybody. John's different than everybody. And I think that kind of adds to our, you know, the diversity of thought on our team. But Danny and I don't always get along. But most times Danny's heart's in the right place.
Oh.
He's just a little bit lazy.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
I don't know
He's
about
very
all that.
sensitive. He's very sensitive.
I'm sure he's sitting right next to you right right
He's
now.
like,
which
what
would be
the fuck,
hilarious.
Tip?
I wouldn't have hired him if I didn't really believe in him and think he was a good, a good addition to the team. Obviously,
For sure.
Danny's great.
Should we bring him back and get to the viewer questions?
All right.
Thanks, Skip.
Skip,
Cheers,
that was
Skip.
awesome.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, my friend.
Hey, follow me on Instagram. Instagram.com/Corojo or cigar_Corojo.
All right, let's see what these listeners had to say.
So our friend Nick said, I guess we can call that skipping.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. And oh my God, they're just laughing hysterically.
Yeah, they just can't stop laughing.
Sounds like they're playing Call of Duty.
Not yet. Not yet.
And yeah, I mean, they're just commenting to everything
Michael from Maximar, Serbian slide in. I guess that's for you, Corojo.
No.
What does he say? What does he say?
No, that's in reference to Vlad.
He's talking about Vlad.
Oh, man. Oh, yes. Sorry. Vlad, please. All you have to do, link was in bio, my friend. Link was in bio. You can bring it up on your computer or your phone. You can, he was hitting me up too, Cal. Sorry.
I got to throw in real quick while you look at those. Some of the palettes that I most appreciate in the entire industry are the people in this particular chat. Whether you consider them super developed or not, I don't really care. I appreciate what every single person in here does.
You're also a half a bottle of whiskey in.
More than that, thank you, sir. But I love you all, and I appreciate that. So fucking take the compliment.
We appreciate you.
Ditto, my friend.
Yeah, man. No, we appreciate you too. So Danny, we have a question from Cigar Noise.
Oh.
David's.
Who's that, Dave? Is that Dave West?
David wants to ask you a question. Okay.
Danny, how would you describe your day in 15-minute increments?
Oh, you're so generous.
What that means? Like when I come to work, get here at 9. I eat breakfast.
Yeah, keep going.
No, what's funny is I know it's a funny question. So it's just like, you just kind of plan your day, have a goal for the day, and then have a goal of the accounts you need to reach, and then just make sure you achieve that goal every day. And all of a sudden at the end of the week, you've achieved your weekly goal, and then your monthly goal, and then your quarterly goal, and then your annual goal, right?
I love ambition, Danny. I love ambition.
And with the other 7 hours and 30 minutes, he just hangs out in the bathroom.
No, there's definitely an hour and a half worth of bathroom time. Especially with TikTok. TikTok, like,
yeah.
Fucking TikTok.
No, so, what's funny is, part of the day is taking pictures of a cigar and posting it and explaining about it, describing it, stuff like that.
And then teasing us with fucking limited editions and
Yeah,
I know.
Shit.
Yeah, Danny, you said that earlier, and I go, hey, by the way, none of those make it to Ohio.
None.
So that's been zero. That's been real fun.
Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys,
Our good friend Chris.
Yes.
Our good friend Chris from Hawaii asked, "What are your go-to smokes right now?"
You guys know Chris, right? It has to be Chris.
Yeah, of course we know Chris.
He's always posting pictures of donuts, which is
No. So Chris, I know. There's two Chris's.
two Chris's. There's no way there's two Chris's in Hawaii.
Yes,
Oh,
there are.
is.
Wait,
So
this
there's
isn't
Chris
Chris
808?
Duke?
Not Chris Duke. This is Chris
Okay.
Gomez.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh.
So yeah. So what are your go-to smokes right now? Drew. Over there.
Patina Habano, Patina Maduro. Monty 2, Opus, Lost City.
Awesome.
Fucking fancy ass shit.
So I've been throwing in some Room 101 stuff lately.
You know.
What about you, Mo?
Mostly patina, Cuban, Byron.
Ooh,
Byron all day.
Another fancy fuck.
fancy.
Yeah.
Another fancy.
Another fancy.
Illusione Epernay too.
Oh God, yes.
Oh man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
now
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
hungry.
phenomenal cigar.
fuck yeah. Hell yeah. Miss Corojo?
Anything that is a ring gauge of 72 plus. Do you hear me?
Anything he needs 2 hands for.
Why this?
You
Is
need
it?
two
Is it
hands.
because of the two hands?
You need 2 hands, huh?
Oh yeah, it's so heavy in your hands, which I love. It takes me a good 3 hours. A good 3 fucking hours.
Bro, they've been touched by 300 hands. You think your 2 hands are gonna do anything?
Oh shit.
Oh my God.
don't know.
Val, what are yours?
Patina, anything. Psycho 7, Nicaragua. I think Indiana Ortez is doing incredible things. Kez Dagley, anything. Vlad, there's your fucking shout out, bro. Kez Dagley's doing a fantastic job.
Kaz Dagley.
Corey.
Recently, Southern Draw, Jacob's Ladder Brimstone, and the Crown Ed's Juarez. Probably my 2 go-to.
Juarez.
Jarez.
Juarez.
Jarez.
Juarez.
It's not Jarvis.
Jarez.
Juarez. Danny.
Oh,
Me.
Come on, Danny. Vamos a hablar español. Juarez.
Juarez.
John. Love you.
Corojo.
but-
Corojo. Say it with me. Juarez.
Juarez.
you gotta roll that. You gotta roll those. You gotta roll those J's.
There's a lot of R's in that.
So, Chris, what are your go-tos now, though?
Oh man, the thing is like I'm never fixated on one particular brand. Like I would literally grab a random cigar, just for the sake of reviewing it or like just getting getting familiar with it. Like last year, me and Corey smoked and reviewed over 160 cigars, which are in a backlog that we have for upcoming reviews. And so when it comes to it, I'm like, if there are go-tos, if I'm just kind of generally smoking, I will say some Crown Heads are that case, but I gotta be real with you people. I don't know what it is, but I am a searcher and finder of anything like Double Claro or Candela. There's something about the green leaf, that uncured tobacco, that I am like fixated on. And so while they're very rare and there's not that many of them, and I probably at this point had like all of them, I just love having a like Claro. I don't know what it is. And whether it's like Illusione 88 Candela, and my favorite, and this is not to say
Give it to me, baby. Give it to me.
My
Give
number
it to
one,
me.
oh honey, I'm gonna give it to you. My number one will always be the Cro-Magnon Fomorian from Lumbercraft. There's something about that cigar. I will constantly smoke that motherfucker whenever it's available.
Not in Ohio, though.
Which, by the way, it's rarely
available. But I will grab it. I'm like, how long has that been sitting there? And they're like, I don't know. I was like, I don't care. Great. Get it.
An American market selection.
But the thing is it is rare, and it usually sells out. Even when it's available, it sells out quickly.
It does. Around here, it goes
It
fast.
sells out quickly, but it's always been my tried and true. I love it. I love the grassiness. Some people say, hey, but I think the Fomorian has more of a grassy flavor, and it's just so fucking good. And I drink it, or I smoke it with like a gin and tonic, a little gin and tonic. Oh, honey. Oh.
What kind of gin do you drink?
I'll do Bombay or Hendrix. Hendrix is usually a really good one to use, especially in a tonic, because I like a little bit sweeter. You know what I'm saying, honey? Sweeter.
You know, Erica and Amy could probably point you to a really, really good gin that I am not a gin drinker, but I love.
got you, boo.
Room
I
101
got
gin.
you.
Room
Yeah.
101
I got a whole
gin.
list for you.
Yeah, he's been
Y'all
telling
got some
me.
of that?
Like Room 101, Bloom,
I will say,
Uncle Val's,
Uncle
like
Val's.
all this. Oh my
So
God.
good.
It's
So good.
it's incredible. There's
There
so
you go.
many gins. But I mean, most of these gins are only available in New York City.
I know, and he said he had a lot in like. Yeah, he said he had a lot in like West Coast too. And I'm like,
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Matt's like, oh, we've got a lot in Hawaii, and I'm like, cool.
I'm in
What
Ohio.
Gotta fly all the way out to.
So as like a lifetime East Coast guy, you know, New Yorker, grew up in Florida, Maryland. On the East Coast, there's the East Coast, and then a whole bunch of weird shit, like Chicago, maybe we care about, and then California.
yeah,
So just FYI, I know it's really hard for you guys to get that concept, but that's how the East Coast thinks about America. There's just like, there's just like, hey,
Yep. Like what the
Here to
fuck's in the
California?
middle?
dirt.
Hey, listen, man. Someone born and raised in Ohio, and I've only lived in about a 15-mile radius. I'm ready to get the hell out. So I feel you.
No,
Definitely.
I'm not talking bad. I'm just saying that's how it goes. I had never been to Texas, and I'm like, man, how many tumbleweeds am I going to see? Like, I can't wait to take a picture of a tumbleweed. I didn't realize how California Austin is, but
Yeah.
there are parts of that of Texas.
So another question that came in from a good friend, Dave, Cigar Noise. If your life could be summed up in a TV series, what would it be? I think.
Oh shit! What would I be?
A movie. If you give me a movie, I'd nail this. But
What would be your?
What
movie?
is it?
Oh, Dallas Buyers Club.
What?
Dallas Buyers Club? I'm done. We're cut off.
All right,
done.
waiting room.
We're done.
Waiting room for Corey.
What?
Let's put his ass on the waiting room.
Why
right
then?
now.
Why?
No, I'm just because I felt like I look like him right now. I feel like I look like Matthew McConaughey.
He's actively living with AIDS, is what he's trying.
TV series is tough. I don't know.
TV series is tough because there's so many different. There's so many different ones.
I could tell you what I'd want to live, probably Sopranos, but that's not the reality of my life living in Dayton, Ohio.
No, Sopranos was like filmed right behind our house.
I know, which
Yeah,
makes me
like-
very jealous.
I was, damn. Mo, how about you?
I don't know. That's tough. I'd like to think of myself as I don't know if you guys have watched Mr. Robot without the
Oh,
computer
yeah.
skills.
Yes.
But I'm a big believer that we could either watch the world be as it is, or we could actually try to change it and make it better. One of the pet peeves that I didn't get a chance to speak on, unfortunately, was this. No, that's not your fault. This lifestyle thing, right? And I want to speak about this because,
Sure.
and I think that in light of what was posted and people are talking about, there is an element where we talk about cigars bring people together. I've been long discussing this thing about segregation within cigar shops. Okay, that happens, and that shit needs to stop. Okay, these are things that are supposed to bring people together, right? First and foremost. But secondly, this whole lifestyle thing that Drew kind of talked about with the watches and the this and the that has crept into our industry, along with people using brands to like give themselves an identity, like, oh, I only smoke this, right? Just stop. That is the antithesis of what we want, what I want the cigar, and I'm not gonna say we, what I want the cigar industry to be, what I think it should be, because to me that is something that excludes people, right? And it creates this lack of inclusiveness to outsiders looking in that intimidates people from getting involved in cigars. So I would really like to see less of that and more about the focus on the cigar itself and using it to expand the number of people that get involved in getting out there and meeting people that aren't like you, right? And we need more of that because there's a massive lack of understanding of other people's struggles. So
I think it's there. It's there. We know it's there. Obviously it's there because of this and in many other Zooms that we've all been a part of, right? It's there. Yeah, there's, you know, disagreements here and there or whatever, and there's bullshit, but it's there. But those people that are front and center, and we call them the tier ones,
right?
They are shading us. But things have changed so much in the past, coming from social media side of things. All of us look at that, but right now, in the past couple of years, but they've already gained all of those followers. They've already gained all of that to whether they buy their followers, they buy their likes and so forth, but they're always going to be there, right? So, and I see it as, you know, it's our opportunity, absolutely, but we as a whole need to come together as a community and always talk about these things. It's always bringing awareness. Like, okay, we know the women, we know the guys that are doing it, we know it. It's all bullshit. Okay, that's fancy photo. Okay, I wish, like, it's making me feel a certain way in a negative way. But it's here. It's about bringing people together, and like we do already. But I think the question is how do we break through that tier one in order to get them, like, okay, they could stay where they are. They've already reached their plateau. They can't go anywhere. It's where we can reach where they are, but continue to go and move forward, because we have the knowledge, we have the connections, we have the ability to change things amongst ourselves to be able to do that. All three podcasts do that. We all do in our own special way. Yeah, you guys, you know, at Sultans, you guys say, oh yeah, we just, you know, we throw out, you know, different topics here and there. You know, Corey and his Poison Ivy stories, I love them. And, you know, the underrated, overrated, it's great. And Drew's, you know, deep thoughts of the night before the show ends. Though that's what it's all about. And that's why I think people don't realize that how powerful we are. No matter if the manufacturer has been in the game for a long time, they're watching us, they're listening to us, whoever they are in the entire world. But it's this right now, I believe us coming together means a hell of a lot, because we're all on the same page no matter what. We all want the same thing. We all want this.
Yeah.
And to share it with the world and share it with everybody out there feeling the same way as us. They feel comfortable, they're with us. So our question is how do we break through that tier one? And is there a possibility? Maybe it's always going to be there and it's just, you know, floating. But I mean, again, they've hit their plateau, and I'm okay with that, because, you know, they can't do what we are doing here.
Starting this week, I am going to post my annual income on my Instagram profile to show you that with food stamps and making less than $17,000 a year in the red light district, you can enjoy cigars with anyone. You don't need $100K plus salary to enjoy this wonderful community of cigars and meet the people in any lounge, whether it's the mailman or whether it's some military person. It doesn't matter. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think so.
For sure. So just to add to that, Danny, what's the general MSRP on a Roma Craft cigar?
About $8 to $9, kind of average.
Cool. Mo, where's the patina? Where's that at?
That's
8 to 12.
8 to 12. Does that fit your lifestyle?
What's that?
Does that fit
What
your
do you mean by
lifestyle,
that?
Miss Corojo?
Oh yeah, like for one blowjob, $20, I can buy 2 fucking cigars. Do you understand that?
Pretty good
That
deal.
was not the response I anticipated.
I will
I'm
say
sorry,
this,
I've never
everyone.
seen Kyle blush before.
I think Mo is definitely. We talked about this a little bit, and Eric, I wholeheartedly agree with what you said. Like one of the reasons, actually the biggest reason, Chris and I even started doing the podcast is because we didn't identify with those things that Mo's talking about. We are not. Look at us, for Christ's sake. We are not.
I am the weirdest tranny you've ever seen.
People
Jesus.
who I talked, like some people are very dumbfounded as far as like how deeply entrenched we are in the cigar. They literally are. I was like, yeah, what do you do? What's your passion? What's your hobby? I was like, I smoke cigars. And they're like, wait, what? You smoke? Like I'm supposed to fit some sort of image or ideal of what that's supposed to be. And I don't. The reason is we started this whole thing and doing what we're doing because we didn't fit that mold. And we understood that there's folks out there, there's a newer generation of folks who are wanting to be acclimated, that want to be inclusive. And we wanted to be a voice for those people who we knew we identified with. And it wasn't those people who live the grandiose luxury lifestyle who, as Drew mentioned earlier, are, taking pictures with $10,000, $15,000 watches and boats and so on. It's like, I think that's although it's the prestige part of what exists in the cigar community, I don't think it really represents the number of people that we sometimes think it does. It's almost like the media is that's kind of what's being broadcast out there. And that's what people are trying to create an association with. That, as far as I know, the collective group that's here, that's none of us. It quite simply is none of us.
Couldn't have said it better, Cigar Daddy. Couldn't have said it better.
I think that's part of the reason why these three kind of our audiences or our shows were really the only that could really work together. And I think the reason for that is because you'll get to a certain level of doing this where you, one, get some type of sense of entitlement, but then also feel like, hey, I can make money off of this. This could, maybe I can make a living off of doing this. And there are very, very few that do that now, right? I mean, we can name them: Dojo, Half Wheel, maybe Coop. I know Coop still has a job, right? So it's very, very tough to do that. But some of those guys, like, that's really their goal, is to get the advertising, to get the sponsorship, so that this is what they do. And unfortunately, and I don't care who you are, you have to sell a piece of your soul to make that happen, right? And that's why a lot of people, the Cigar Aficionado list, let's be real, is really the only list that matters. But look how much shit they get, right? And
Sure.
And when you look at Half Wheel is funny to me because they will give a low rating to one of their sponsors, right? On the flip side, they will, pump them up a little more over here and that. And I don't know, listen, I'm not going to say it's full of shit, but at some point there has to be a little, but then on a lot there, I respect them a lot. So when it comes to news for now, they're kind of the go-to for cigar news. That can change because, as Half Wheel wasn't always around, right? But I think that's the interesting kind of facet here with us, is that none of us is looking to have this as their part-time. We're doing it from a side of passion. There's at least 4 of us that are in the industry, or at least were in the industry at some point. So we have that kind of back end, as opposed to like the only thing I have in the industry is because I want to report on it. Or like Chris and Corey, you guys understand the fact that you still have your full-time career. This is a passion for you. So when something's a passion, you're more real with it, which you guys 100% are. I'm stroking all of our egos a little bit here, but it's like, I think that is the super important part of being authentic, is because I can be authentic because I can talk shit about, XYZ, and it's not going to affect my income. It's not going to affect my life. Or I can talk really good about something and it's not going to affect my income. It's not going to affect my life. I don't give a fuck about followers. I don't care about listeners. I don't care about, the number anyway, right? Like I care about the followers. I care about the listeners, but I don't care what that number is. If we only had 5 people that listen, me, Cal, Mo, Drew, and then one other person listening, right? It's like
pretty much the case.
My mother-in-law, bro.
Oh, there's 5. We're still going to do it. We're recording every Monday. You guys are recording every Tuesday. You guys are recording every Friday. And that's where the authentic comes from, where our listeners identify with us, as opposed to, it's really hard for me to identify with Cigar Aficionado. Like that's a whole nother level of branding, of advertising, of, is this for real? Like, do you really care that much about the cigar to give it a 92, 93, 94, 95? Because I've smoked that cigar, right? And then, hey, wow, you gave this an 87. I kind of like that cigar. Like, it's whatever, right? So I think that, that's a huge part of the community that we've all built kind of around us. I think we attract these really, really good people. And if they don't like it, then you stop listening. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I will say, you bring up a good point in terms of that. And, as long as the devotion, and I can speak for Chris and I, and I'm sure many are in the same boat, right? We built a website around things, fired up a YouTube channel. That's all Corojo. And we've done all these things, and I can tell you the amount of money we've made is exactly 0, and the amount of money we lost, I don't even want to tell. It's an insane amount. But that's because we love doing what we're doing. We want a platform out there to broadcast, this message to a collective community, a collective audience that continues growing over time, shared audience between these 3 podcasts. And that's literally what we went in with. There was never this grandiose idea where it's like, hey, let's take over the world and let's shoot for advertising dollars. If you look at our website, there's exactly 0 advertisers. We have 1 for the podcast, and he's a good friend of ours, right? It's someone I want to support because I believe in what they're doing. It's not one of those exchange of dollars. It's a guy that I talk to every single day of the week. And it's because I believe in what he's doing for the community. Likewise, he believes in us. And I think that's the very, very, very intentional, important piece of what I think we can all collectively do, to Mo's point, and building up a community is doing exactly things like this, doing what we're doing on the website platform, what we do with the podcast. Eric, you asked the questions like, how do we get there? And I think it's doing more of these types of things. It's being real with the conversations. It's being real with each other. It's sometimes having the hard conversations, Sultans, or you guys topically kind of putting shit out there. Eric and Amy, there's times where when I listen to your podcast, I blush, and not in a bad way, in a good way, where I go, holy shit. And Skip mentioned earlier, I'm glad someone said it, because no one else is saying it. And it's a thing that I would say 90% of the people are thinking. I think it needs to be more of that.
Yeah, it's same thing with what you guys, Danny and Corey have said multiple times. All of you have said this to us as well. It's like, before we even, came up with this, it's like, all right, you guys know that I had personally hit a plateau on social media. It's like, all right, we need to change some things up. And, doing the research and knowing that you guys had the podcast, like, what could we offer the cigar community from a different perspective? Us being women, like, how we don't know everything, it's just, we're learning every single fucking day. We don't have, our goal is just to be able to connect with other people and let them know that they're not alone.
And
right?
Bring
awareness. Like we all do. And to have the fact that you guys support us means the world. Not a lot of people fucking like us. It's fine, but it's, that drives us because we have so many other people listening to us, and we offer something a little bit different than you guys do. You guys already cover, if I want to, feel a certain way, I'm going to listen to the Hot Ticket podcast. If I want to feel another way, I want to listen to the Sultans. You guys take us out of this, daily grind and take us to different places. Well, me to different places. And that's appreciated, and I can get a little of everything within these 3 podcasts, and it goes very far. And, I still want to know a lot about Drew, but we'll figure that out.
Erica, ask him about the squirrels. Ask him the squirrel question.
God. Yeah.
And I want to I know we've been going on for a while. It's just a normal conversation. A lot of people are loving this, where they're just like praising this on YouTube, and they appreciate this conversation that we're having. And how about we switch it up, Drew? We ended off on a positive note with Drew. Like, Drew, you have to end this on a positive note, man. Squirrels and what is it? The Drew's thoughts? Like
deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts.
But wait. I know that me and Muka were talking about a question specifically for Drew. Please,
for the squirrels.
Right. That's exactly the question that I wanted.
That's why I said squirrels.
All right, Drew.
Let Muka ask the question. He put it nicely.
So smart.
Here's the squirrel question, Drew.
All right, let's hear it.
You, Mr. Drew, are in a cage match with a number of squirrels. How many squirrels could you personally take on?
Are we on an episode of Lost?
What kind of squirrel?
What do you mean, what fucking kind of squirrel? There's kinds of squirrels.
Does it matter?
Need some better details here.
What kind of squirrel? Is it a young squirrel? Is it an old squirrel?
Yeah, they flying squirrels, they ground squirrels.
Pick whichever kind and
Red-tailed
however
squirrels.
it matters.
Ooh. Are we in a ring or like a cage?
It's literally a cage. You can't get away.
Cage, like the octagon with squirrels
I was about to say, yeah.
with a top on it.
Yeah, there's no escape for anyone.
Uh-oh.
Man, I bet I could take on, I don't know, 20, 25 squirrels.
Impossible.
Well,
One
I mean, I feel
squirrel
like
fuck
with his
you up.
big guns, he could take on more than just what?
One?
Ever dealt with a squirrel? I fed a squirrel one time, and it pulled with the food out of my hand and sliced my finger.
Animals like me, Danny.
Sweetie. And it was being nice, and I bled.
I'm sorry that
And
you had
then
to
you
go
needed
through
a
that.
rabies shot.
You're gonna die.
Well, I didn't realize this was going to be a sensitive topic for Danny, so that was
Fuck squirrels. My bumper sticker says I aim for squirrels.
Dave said anything less than 500 is weak. I think I had to take quite a few on before I got overran.
How many?
We need to set this up.
I mean, they got a ridiculous jump. They got a
better
bite. They can fuck you up.
But listen, here's the thing. I'm with Drew on this because I've been sizing Drew up this entire Zoom session.
Yeah, I bet.
And I agree with the 20 to 25. I think he can fucking do it. I think he can do it. Listen, you could snap a squirrel neck like this matchstick. Just boom.
I think 2025 is a good number.
I do too.
I don't want to get ridiculous.
You got to catch it first, though.
Jump in your bed.
I'd have him running from me.
Here's the thing with the squirrel. If you grab one squirrel and you rip that head off, or you just make an example of that one squirrel, the other squirrels will get it. They'll be like, never mind.
There you go. I'm not messing with that guy.
Now, if there's flying squirrels in there, you're fucked.
Like a William Wallace, but every corner of your backyard is just strewn with its head and its limbs, showing an example that don't fuck with my goddamn yard.
Yep. I like it.
In my first apartment, I had a roach on the wall. I killed it and left it there for like 2 or 3 days.
You have to.
I didn't see a roach for like a week.
You have to. Yeah.
Until the other
Threw a
roaches
circle
grabbed it
around
and ate
it.
its dead carcass.
Yeah. It's like, tell your friends about me. So how about questions for Erica and Amy?
Well, we haven't. Wait, no.
What are we doing?
What? Squirrels? How many?
25.
20, 25.
25? 25.
Yeah.
That's sexy, Drew.
All right, 25.
25?
25? 25. Okay.
All right. Kyle, can you find out where we can buy squirrels? And then we're going to just send them to his house.
Dude, listen, come to Ohio. I can tether together at least 7 right now in my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
Ohio has those black squirrels.
We got every squirrel.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I could gather the 25 right around the corner. Trust me, I have a fucking park filled with them bitches. I got you.
Amy's sensitive about squirrels too.
Yeah, she
I talked to them.
So Erica, are there any questions that are going to get Amy to go off?
Not tonight, bro. Not tonight.
Cigar sommelier?
Oh, you gotta save that. Don't bring that up now. You save that. Are we all in agreement that this cannot be the one and only time we do this?
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's just a collective.
There's so much more. I mean,
so much more.
you know, you guys came onto, our YouTube, and we didn't really give you a chance to ask us questions, but we really wanted to share who you all were. I know a lot of your followers and your listeners have joined in, but next time we can go, dude, we have topics for days.
Yeah.
This is a great group, man.
I love this.
This is great. So, deep thoughts, Drew. How about we end it off on a positive note?
Yeah, Drew, you got to close this out strong.
You have to close this
Get
out.
deep, Drew.
I wasn't warned ahead of time.
What?
Totally
Hang on.
Like you like what? All right.
They said something like 2 hours ago, bro.
Wait. Time out.
I was ignoring it like I do every week.
There you go.
I might have some notes here. Hang on.
Notes.
Oh shit, he's texting me for an idea.
Yep.
You don't have to
No.
know when you
Vlad, send Drew an idea.
No, this is pretty good. So I've been wondering this for a long time, but what's the deal with people that take late lunches? Why is that? No, I'm being serious here.
What's considered late?
So
what's late?
why is it always a family thing where they're like, hey, we're going to get together for a late lunch? Why can't we eat a normal lunch? Noon. Anything after noon is late. 12:30, I'll give you that. If you're meeting for lunch at 1 or 2, no. That's bullshit.
That's not lunchtime for you. What the fuck?
Listen, Drew.
Noon.
Wait, between 11 and wait.
We gotta give the stage to Corojo.
Listen, Drew. If you want to keep this fucking figure, you got to intermittent fast, bitch.
You gotta show off your tattoo when you say that.
16 hours, bang it out. You know what I'm saying? 16 hours straight. Don't eat a fucking thing. You want to have water? That's fine. But I wait 16 goddamn hours before I eat. And it might be a couple nibbles of a pizza, but that's it.
That's not intermittent fasting.
No, it's
No.
Intermittent fast.
We have a couple guys at work that do that, and they all eat at noon.
Well,
what's lunchtime for you?
12.
Noon, 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
mine is 2.
Well,
2
Well, what
p.m.
time do you get up?
That's like
12:30 is okay. I'm up by 6 every morning.
Okay. So, do you
6:30.
consider like anything afternoon, like dinner? Like, is it dinner to you?
Oh yeah, dinner would be then. I don't know, about 6.
So, what would you consider?
7?
Okay, so people are eating, say, 1 o'clock for lunch. Are they just not
Savages.
normal? Like,
They're
did you
savages.
there goes Judge
Do
Drew.
you guys not have the same issue? It's normally family, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna get together this Saturday for a late lunch."
It's because they don't want to commit to dinner, meaning they don't want you there late, but they don't want to have to prepare things early enough for you to be there at noon.
That's probably what it is. Well, it pisses me off. Every time every time we get invited to something, I'm like, what time is it? What are we doing? It's going to be a late lunch. I'm like, well, I'm fucking eating now then.
They call that dinner. That's not late lunch. That's dinner.
So when she wants to eat a little later after 12, say 12:30, do you snack on something?
Oh, yeah. No, you got to eat. Yeah. I'll eat before going.
Drew's snack is like
she's along with me with this.
20-ounce ribeye.
She just normally sets up the family plans, and she's like, it's going to be a late lunch. We're going to eat before.
That's great. No, that's awesome. Well, thank you for ending the amazing 3 podcasts.
3 hours long.
Yeah.
Has it been 3 fucking hours?
It's been close.
Almost
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Cheers,
And
guys.
There's been a yes. Where's the bottle?
Cheers. Cheers, guys. Where's your bottles? Corojo. Come on.
You gotta drink out that bottle, girl.
Danny. Oh, you cheater.
Hey, safety in numbers, sweetheart. If we need to go to the restroom together to be safe, we'll do it.
All right.
That guy's gonna pee right outside his deck, and we know it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I'm so happy that we got together. Thank you guys all who are watching us. We appreciate you. Your comments are fucking amazing. Everybody's just dying tonight. It was great. It was a good Monday, and we have to do this again.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think we're pot committed now.
Yeah. I appreciate you each individually in your own way. Like, just, you guys are amazing, and thank you so much for always supporting us. We love you guys, and I mean, this is us. This is the cigar culture right here, man. This is it. So, and until next time, you all.
Appreciate
This
it.
is the 3 podcast. There.
Your lounge experience is something to smoke and
The Hot Ticket